We had a boy since we had him. We started keeping across world affairs, keeping kind of tabs on politics and what's happening in the world, because we want to know what kind of world we've brought our little boy into. And I've looked into some stuff, and listen, I've got to tell you, Putin, not my cup of tea. I do not like that guy's vibe at all. I'm sorry to use this language. I'm going to use the word toxic. No, we've got to call it out, lads, when we see it, actually. And we've got to stop him. We've got to stop Putin. I really believe this. I saw a graphic, right? It showed a map of the UK. It showed that if Putin dropped a bomb on London, that the blast would reach up as far as the Midlands, where we live. And I saw that and I was like, fuck. We've got to do something. Because I am not taking in Cockney refugees. I'm sorry, I'm not doing it. I'm not. I've got a spare room. If a Ukrainian family need it, they can have it. I'm not having some prick from Shoreditch moving in with me. Tell me I'm making coffees wrong. I'm not having it. Grown men skateboarding across the border. No, get off that. Get off. Disembark, for God's sake. I pray it doesn't come to that. Man, I could never be in the army. I'd be bloody rubbish in the army. I couldn't even be in the army reserves. Whatever they do. Army reserves, I think they fight against the smaller nations midweek. I think that's what they do. I think the gaffer comes in, he's like, listen lads, it's a big one, we've got Afghanistan away on Saturday. I'm going to rest you lads. I'm going to bring some civil servants in for San Marino on Tuesday. I think that's how it works.
I think a lot of it is society's fault. By the way, can I recommend the next time you're worried about a personal flaw, just blame society. It feels good, because not only do you get to seem like clever and insightful, you also just get away with whatever's wrong with you. I think you'll find it's society's fault my house smells like this. Good day. But I do think I have a point, because hyperbole is everywhere now. It's the only language we seem to have. I mean, is Gen Z in? Gen Z? You're pretty young. I'm guessing because the light's in my face and people moisturize. I can't tell. I've looked like this since I was fucking 11. I don't know. You must be Gen Z, right? I've been on TikTok. I've seen what you guys are up to. And I don't like it. There's a comment on TikTok that the Gen Zers, they leave it under videos they like. Whatever, a dog opens a jar. And the comment is, I'm throwing up, I'm crying, I'm dead. That's a stock phrase. I'm throwing up, I'm crying, I'm dead. It's not an appropriate response to anything, is it? Apart from Ebola. Fair enough, Ebola. But a dog opening a jar, no. And hyperbole is everywhere now. Like those reviews I mentioned earlier, like movie posters for theatre, musical. The reviews don't even make sense to me on those. I'll be in like the London Underground, say, and they got those big posters for the West End shows, and the quotes at the bottom will be like, this show left my sense of place in the universe shattered. And you go, oh my God. You read the next quote and it's like, I was sick into my lap. 5 stars. You're like, what show is this? I must know. And you look up at the title, and it's a regional tour of Greece. And you just think, that can't be for that. That's not for that, is it? How could it possibly be? And it's all over comedy as well. There's a figure in comedy who is the worst for what you might call performative hyperbole, and I really hate him a lot. It's the cry laughing emoji. I really hate that guy. You don't need to worry about him. On TikTok, the young people, when something's funny, they use the skull emoji because, as I mentioned, they are dead. But the rest of us old fucks are stuck with the cry-laughing man. You know, with little tears coming out the eyes. And the reason I hate the cry-laughing emoji is because I need him. I need him. If you cover your online video in cry-laughing emojis, people click on it like 1,000 times more. It's depressing, but it's true. And it's all about views. If you have a big enough number of views, TV producers, they're too busy and afraid to try and pick a guy on their own, so they just go, big number, let's have him on, right? That's how it works now. So we need views, so we need the cry laughing emoji. That's what the business is. It's all just online fucking. It's not like the old days. I know comedians from the 80s and 90s, and it sounds better. Just back then, you go to the terrifying pub, you go into the basement, be quite funny for 20 minutes, an incredibly frightening man would give you an envelope, and you go, here you go, see you next week. And you go, oh, thank you. And you'd open it up, 60 quid in there, go home, buy your flat, right?
And when I grew up in Scarborough, I was always desperate to leave it. And I wanted to move on to bigger and better things. And then as soon as I left, I realised what an incredible town it is. And I was proud of it. And I always wanted to do Scarborough proud. I always thought if I ever make it in this town, when people think Scarborough, they'll think funny, they'll think Paddy Young. It sounds right. Sounds like the way things were going for me until New Year's Eve last year, just as the fireworks were about to go off. Does anyone remember what happened? A walrus, yeah. It was the first time a walrus had ever been seen on the Yorkshire coast. It was incredible. So we all got a bit closer to the walrus, then the walrus got a bit closer to us, then we got a little bit closer, and then the walrus started masturbating. Did you know that walruses masturbated? I didn't, no. No. Little bit defensive, if you ask me. No. Shutting all the tabs in his pocket. Oh, my fucking God. Shut down the subreddit, boys. He's got us. Well, I didn't know that they masturbated either. I didn't know they masturbated, but they're not normally in Scarborough either, so I don't know if this guy's just a bit of a Jack the Lad, turns up, wanks where he wants, goes home. They cancelled the fireworks, he brought his own, my God! The line from the council was, they stopped the fireworks because they didn't want to cause the walrus any more stress. Now, I'm not an expert on walruses or stress. He looked fairly relaxed to me, He looked like he was about to have the nap of his life. The whole town enjoyed it. It was great. The elderly, the kids, we all learned something. It's a great evening. But in the wake of it, this walrus has become a bit of a viral sensation. People have enjoyed the video across the world. If you Google Scarborough funny, it's not Paddy Young. It's that fat, juicy cock. Lolloping about on our shore. It's so unfair. Like, look, I was a teenage boy in Scarborough. Like, do you realise how many wanks I must have had up there? Like, millions, probably. Never even made it in the Yorkshire Press. He's on the front page of The Guardian. I was keeping that water salty way before he crawled out of there.
I do admire racists in Northern Ireland. It's good to have heroes, no? I just admire people that have tough jobs. That's a tough job. Being a racist in Northern Ireland, it's such a white place that they have nowhere to put their racism. So they saw my slightly tan dad and were like, that'll do, we're in, we're doing it. It's such a white... Northern Ireland is such a white place. And people don't believe me. It fucking is. It's... Just ask Liam Neeson. If you don't remember what I'm talking about, Liam Neeson, on TV, in an interview, decided to tell a little story. He told the story about how his friend had been assaulted by a black man in Northern Ireland. And in his very Liam Neeson way, he went, so I got a bat. And I walked through the streets of Northern Ireland for 2 weeks trying to find some black bastard to beat the shit out of. Liam Neeson tried to find a black guy to beat up for 2 weeks and couldn't. That's incredible. And he just ran out of racism. After 2 weeks, he was like, they're fine, I guess. Because he had no one to be racist to. And I think that's the solution to racism, just get rid of them. No, you can't clap that, actually, please don't.
So you can't just bash nerds anymore, can you? And it's fine. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a thug. I don't want to. But they've gone from being bashed to being revered in a very short time space. And I just think nerds would do well to remember what the inside of an S-Pen tastes like and adjust their adult behaviour accordingly. And I don't want to come out too hard on nerds either. I don't mind nerds. They're fine. There might be one here. I don't know. Some of them look like us now. But I think it's an equation as old as time itself, though. If you take a nerd and you empower them, you're going to end up with a pervert. But now, thanks to the information superhighway, nerds can just meet other people online and then procreate as a result of that. Nerds, they used to have to build, solve or invent something and use the requisite cash to purchase the love of a woman. Now they just use trickery like the rest of you and meet people online, leaving their spare time free to reenact fictitious battles between witches and dragons and whatever else it is that's now acceptable for modern men to be doing.
I once had to apologise to the entire country of Australia. The whole country. I'm not just talking about the people. I'm talking about the flora and fauna and the kangaroos and the wallabies and the witchetty grubs and the koala bears and all the other animals that keep a little spare animal down the front in case they get a flat. I don't know. But all these, I had to apologise to all of Australia, but they were very mad at me. All right, I'll tell you what happened. What happened was, there was an Australian actor on the show, a friend of mine, a gentleman by the name of Guy Pearce. Do you know Guy Pearce? Yeah, he's a great actor, Australian. So Guy Pearce was on the show, and we were just dicking around, guys being dudes, and he was going, oh, Scotland's rubbish, mate. And I was like, Australia's rubbish, mate. And then I crossed the line. I said that Canberra, the capital city of Australia, was a festering shithole. I know I shouldn't have said that. I don't know, I've never been to Canberra. I should have said it is allegedly a festering shithole.
I recently achieved the dream of every middle-class person. I had a bit of work done on the house, had a new kitchen put in. I stress, we're not wealthy, but we came into some money on the death of an elderly relative, upon which I had bet heavily. Come on, Uncle Oscar, Daddy needs a kitchen island. So we got this work done, and I don't know if there are any men in the audience who are man enough to admit that when you meet a proper man, you go a bit funny, right? Like if you see, walking down the street, if you see a guy who's like wearing overalls, he's got paint all over them, and you see him and you go, there goes a proper man, and you go a bit limp, you know, oh, he's proper. All it really means, of course, is that he's not that good at painting. And what happens, and I don't want to do this happens despite my best endeavours, I open the door to them and I do a bit of a voice, right? I don't know what it is. These guys turn up, I'm like, all right, let's wait. Like, where is that coming from? What is that? I'm going, all right, a cup of tea, cheeky Stella, all right, lovely. I think on some level I'm trying to sort of leverage a friendship with them in order to create the possibility of the discount for cash. Don't know if anyone's ever pulled that off. All right, lads, cup of tea, discount for cash. What that is, I'll give you the cash, you knock the VAT off, everybody's laughing, apart from obviously the schools and the hospitals. Anyway, and they must know. They must know, right? When I turn up like this, they must go round the corner and go, he's rather patronising, isn't he? Yes, he is. He is condescending to us, talking down to us, isn't he? Yes, he's trying rather hard. That's what she said, careful. And we tried to do the whole job in a week, right? They wanted to get it done in a week. So at one point, they were all in the living room. Now, our living room is underneath our kitchen with this little squeezy house on a hill. And all 5 of them were downstairs in the living room having a chat, right? So there was a chippy, a sparky. You've got another lingo. There was whatever the fuck a plumber is. Cheeky dolphin. I don't know. Splash Harry. And a bender? That's unlikely, I think. And a gaffer and a spaffer, which is my word for a plasterer. I've made that up myself. You're welcome. Spaff, spaff, spaff. It's harder than it looks. So all 5 of them were in there, and I went in to offer them a coffee, right? And I panicked, because I didn't know how to address them together. And I walked in, and I went, all right, men. I don't know why I said that. I think I was going to go for lads, and then I bailed out halfway through the sentence. I turned up, men, as if I'm the brigadier at the back of the battlefield on a white horse. And I'm expecting you, obviously, to die tomorrow in your hundreds of thousands. But for now, can I offer you coffee? So they all said yes. So 2 minutes later, I'm standing upstairs in the kitchen at the worktop in front of a coffee pod machine I already feel bloody guilty about. And I've got 5 pods on the worktop in front of me, thinking, am I really going to chuck 5 pods at these bastards, right? What if they want another coffee later on? They're here all week. This is going to bankrupt me, right? I'm going to have to kill another relative. They're not the usual pods, is my point. They're from a special collection called simply Regime. And so I've got the 5. I scoot them up. I've got 5 pods in one hand. I've got a jar of dirty instant coffee in the other hand. And I'm looking from one to the other, trying to make my mind up. When I look up, and one of the builders is standing on a ladder looking in through the kitchen window. There is no other thought I could possibly have been contemplating. I ended up having to do a sort of extended improvised act out to my wife, who was not in the building, saying to her out loud, "Oh, all right, darling, what have you done there? What are you doing getting this instant muck? Nothing but the best for my boys." Sorry, I'm sorry.
But I don't judge my life based on material possessions, mainly because I don't really have access to them. I judge my life based on achievements and milestones. Like, I don't mean to brag, but a little while ago, I hit the big time. I married an American, which is the greatest thing that's ever happened to me, according to Americans. They are so excited for me. Like, wow, you married an American. Your parents must be so proud. I'm like, they're a little concerned. They're worried about me. No, you could be an American now. Don't you want to be an American? Pew, pew, pew. I'm like, calm down. Okay, I don't have the confidence to be an American. I'm not qualified. Americans are confident people. Like, I was in America and I wanted to go to some fine dining restaurant, so I turned up at Pizza Hut. And a guy was coming outside and he held the door open for me. He said, "After you, big dog." I'm 5'7". I've never been called big dog in my life. I'm like, me? He's like, "Yeah, come on through, big dog." I'm like, stop it. No, it's not me. I'm a little dog. Stop it. Get out of here. I'm not even a big... I don't even have a tail. Stop it. He's like, "Come on through," and he gave me a fist bump. And that confidence was contagious. All of a sudden, I felt that American confidence, and I felt 6 foot tall. I'm like, you know what? Maybe I am a big dog. I felt so confident. I walked into that Pizza Hut. I bought a family meal. That's how excited I was. My father-in-law was so pumped for me when I married his daughter. As a wedding gift, he bought me a Costco membership. That's a dowry in the state of Kentucky. It's like, that's a Costco membership. You can go to any Costco around the world. I'm like, why would I go to Costco when I'm overseas? You can get the best bagels in Costco. You got to buy 3,000, but they're the best bagels. You can get the best red wine from Italy in Costco. It's from a region in Italy called Kirkland, Italy. Best Italian wines. You can get a coffin in Costco. And when I die, I want you to put me in that coffin, leave me in Costco, because that's my idea of heaven, amen. I'm like, mate, wait till you discover Aldi. You're going to have a great time. No membership needed. I've tried to live in America. It's hard to get onto the American system, right? They're very protective of their system. I went to get a phone number, asked for a SIM card, and they said, Sir, you can't get an American phone number until you have an American bank account. I'm like, no worries. So I went to the most American bank possible. I went to Bank of America. And they said, sir, you can't get an American bank account until you have a social security number first. I'm like, no worries. Went to the social security office. They're like, sir, you can't get a social security number until you have an American phone number. I'm like, I'm gonna kill everyone. So I went to Walmart, bought a gun, no documents needed. Very easy. Americans also don't expect me when they hear Australian man. They think like alpha man, right? They think like Hugh Jackman and Chris Hemsworth and the dad from Bluey. Just proper alpha dogs. Now, I don't want to shock anyone, but I am not an alpha male. Don't argue. I'm not an alpha male. But I know how to find one. If you ever need an alpha male for any reason, it's very easy. All you have to do is find like an extension lead or a cable or a cord. And all you have to do is start to try to coil it. And what will happen is an alpha male will appear out of nowhere and tell you you're doing it wrong. That's not how you bloody coil it, mate. You've got to let the cable do the work. You follow that. If you really want to piss them off, you start doing it around your elbow. They'll have a conniption like, that's not how you bloody do it, mate. You've got to wreck the cable. And they turn into a car.
So I'm in a poly relationship now. Yeah, I just found out. It's good when you find out, isn't it? Because polyamory is so popular now with young people, like particularly young people. And people give young people today more shit than any generation. You know what I mean? It's it's not fair. Look, if I were to describe young people today, I would describe them as hypersexual environmentalists. That's the best way to... Is that bad? Because you know everything is sexual and political with young people. Everything. Everything's like... save the koalas. It's you, man. Isn't it? Everything's sexual and political. Everything's like, hey, guys, my pussy's wet, but there's a drought in Uganda. Guys, seriously. It's you. That's what you post, man. Isn't it? Hey guys, this is a picture of my erection, sure, but it's exactly the same shape as the missiles Israel launches into Palestine. Wake the fuck up. Raise your fist into my ass for workers' rights. Stop racism. Stop it. Stop racism and sexism. It's bad. I care. People are prejudiced. You know what I'm talking about. Like you guys, like you're young, you know, you post shit like, hey guys, before I begin this tutorial on deep throating, I'd like to acknowledge your traditional elders. You. Of this share house. A lot of it's mental illness. It is. A lot of it's mental illness. A lot of it's mental illness. And, you know, we're in an epidemic of narcissism. An epidemic of narcissism. Nobody cares. Narcissism is fucking tearing our society apart. Nobody cares. Like, are you okay, Dave? Do you ever ask a narcissist? Nah, fuck that. Not that one. Yuck. Not that mental illness. We don't even have a fucking day for narcissism. We should be raising awareness. Should be like, wear a little mirror for Narcissist Day. They can't even check themselves into a mental health clinic. What are they going to do? Hey, I'm here to check myself in because I'm fucking the best. Yeah! Woo! Like doing the moonwalk and shit. Yeah, sick. I'm the best. Look at my abs. I'm sick. I'm fucking sick. My dad is like, oh, your generation, you know, you guys are the most mentally ill generation of any ever. I'm like, man, fucking boomers are so mentally ill, but they have fucking no idea or self-awareness. Like, we have too much self-awareness. Our generation and younger, you know, we're like, okay, that's a tinge of anxiety. That's a tinge of anxiety, and that's developing into a depressive episode. Great. Now I'm depressed. Now I've got to go to work and I'm disassociating. Hey guys, disassociating, loving that. This is great. Love the disassociation. Then I get to work and I've got a trauma bond with my boss because he's gaslighting me, so I can't self-soothe. That's affecting my serotonin, so that's horrible for the ADHD. Whereas boomers, you guys are just like, feel something, then anger. That's it. Just like, I think I'm sad. Why can't I find a park? Fuck! That's it. I think I'm alone. Fucking political correctness, crazy, My dad has spent his whole life running from himself. His whole fucking life. What's going on? Get the car, get the dog. We're going to the beach now. Can relax, Dad. We're on holidays. We could be on holidays faster. Dad treats life like a race. It's like a fucking job to get done. Get born, grow up, meet someone, get married, have kids, retire, dead. Good, done. Done, good. Life's done. Good. What's next? Looks like the afterlife needs a mow. Let's mow the afterlife. Let's get that job done. Dad never looks inward. He's just going, you won't get me, life. I'm fucking going too quick to feel. You won't catch me. I wish I was like that, you know, just running through life, leaving a wake of mentally ill children behind me.
I got married 2 years ago. But we didn't go on our honeymoon until last year. Yeah. We went to Italy. Yeah. Boy, they are Italian over there. You think you're prepared for it, because, like, it's Italy, and then you're sitting in a cafe in Rome, and the server comes over, and he's like, okay, so first of all, we know do a spaghetti. And you're sitting there like, oh, my God. The racist didn't go far enough this time. We were in Naples. We went to Naples, and in Naples, I saw 3 people riding one Vespa. 2 of them were smoking unfiltered cigarettes, and the third was holding an open bottle of red wine. It was a toddler. It was a toddler holding the wine. In Naples, they use toddlers as cup holders for wine. We went to the Vatican on our trip, which, as a Jew, does feel like a secret mission. I felt like if I made it all the way through without getting detected, I should get to kiss the Pope. And I just like, mwah, you didn't find me. He'd probably be cool with it, right? This Pope, isn't it still like the cool Pope right now? Isn't it still? Yeah, the Pope was just like that's his energy. He's like, hey, call me Rick, how are ya? Yeah, like, you know, he doesn't do the big hat, he does a little Catholic yarmulke, that's his energy, right? Kirkland signature robes, that's the Pope. You know who I feel bad for is the next Pope. Because he didn't sign up for all this humble stuff. Right? If he ever wants to go back to full Pope hat strength, he's gonna have to do it gradually, or people are gonna talk. He's gonna have to, every week, wear a slightly bigger hat. He's gonna be in meetings at the Vatican like, okay, so first order of business is, and one of the cardinals is gonna be like, Your Holiness, is that a bigger hat? No. It's a different hat. It was scary, Italy. A little bit. Because as you're going around the country, you're learning a little bit about its history. And I was reminded that not too long ago, Italy used to be a fascist country. In the 1930s and the 1940s, under Benito Mussolini, they were fascist. And that was crazy to me, because this is also the country that invented the ravioli. And it's just hard to hold those 2 ideas in your head at the same time. Although, I guess if you lived in a country where one person invented something as impactful as the ravioli, you might be more willing to believe that a man could be God. about it some more and I realized something startling. Many of the countries that have given us the finest dumplings on the planet have, at one time or another, succumbed to fascism. Think about it. Russia, dumplings, fascism. Poland, dumplings, fascism. China, in my opinion, the finest dumplings on the planet, but also, occasionally, unfortunately, fascism. So I guess the question that we need to ask ourselves as Americans is, do Hot Pockets count? Because otherwise,
I was in an airport, and it was Abu Dhabi airport, and I was on my way out of the airport, and when I was on my way out, an Abu Dhabi security guard pointed at me and went, "You come here." Obviously not in my accent, in the Abu Dhabi accent. I'm not going to do the Abu Dhabi accent. Also, it'd be a difficult impersonation to do because we don't really know that much about Abu Dhabi. Like, all we tend to know is it's a corrupt regime and the difference between rich and poor is huge. So I'll just make him English. So the Abu Dhabi security guard pointed at me and went, "You come here." "Hop along, old boy, gonna search your bags, don't mind if I do." And he opened up my suitcase and he took out a bottle of CBD oil. CBD oil, if you don't know, part of a marijuana plant, but it's legal here because it's not the fun bit of the plant. But the way they see it in Abu Dhabi is very different. He went, "Oh dear. Drugs." And I couldn't deny it was drugs because the label had a picture of a dog wearing sunglasses. And at this point, I'm shitting myself because we also know about Abu Dhabi, not very lenient. And the other thing I thought was that, oh my God, because I felt so embarrassed because I thought of all the things to go to jail for in Abu Dhabi, CBD oil. What made it worse, right? It was vape liquid. So, yeah, so uncool, right? I smoke e-cigarettes and I think I'm a fanny. I'd rather get 50 years for having cigarettes on me that were illegal, because at least it'd be a bit sexy, you know. I think cigarettes are cool, man. You can chat somebody out of a cigarette. You can be like, "Hey, have you got a lighter?" "What can you do with an e-cigarette?" "Do you like the smell of custard?" Abu Dhabi security guard took the bottle of CBD aside. I'm now thinking, uh-oh, what else is in my suitcase that's illegal? Because I know that that's illegal. I know that I'm illegal. It's the first time in my life I've ever been worried that I packed a twink. And then he took out prep pills. Right, prep pills, if you don't know, right, a couple of people know what they are, right? Prep pills are pills that you can take that stop you from contracting HIV. Oh, I love telling straight people. Because they might not say anything, but you can see it in their eyes. They're going, "Are you telling me the gays defeated God?" It's amazing. You feel so arrogant during sex, couple of pills before, looking at the ceiling going, "Yeah, God, your ill isn't going to work on us anymore. Sorry, Satan, we'll be late." Oh you need to do is you take 2 pills 1 hour before you have sex, which is a long time to wait in the park, but we're working on that.
I think the problem I've got living here and looking so racist is I do attract racist people. They think I'm one of them. Actually, I think they think I'm their leader. They follow me around, pointing at me, probably thinking, look at that, a proper 20th century racist bloke who's possibly been cryogenically frozen in the 20th century and brought back to life now so that millennials can see what a proper fucking racist geezer looks like. Like a heritage racist, if you will. But, you know, image is tricky in this country. It's a minefield. We've established what my image is, what I look like, but, you know, your image has a different meaning depending on where you are, depending on which town you're in. Let me illustrate. You know, if you saw me walking around in East London, you might think there's a geezer you don't fuck with, right? But if you saw me walking around in Brighton... I know. What a transformation before your very eyes. It's a very similar look. Bit of a different meaning. And not a lot of people can carry off this gay fascist combination look, you know. It takes years. I don't just throw this shit together. I mean, during Pride weekend, when London was banged out with gay men on the tube system, I'm jumping on and off the tube doing gigs. I merged amongst them, comedian-like. In fact, so convincing was I thought, if I'm not careful here, I'm going to pull. And if I do, I'm going to need a backstory, aren't I? So I don't get accused of cultural appropriation by the gay community. And I thought, right, what sort of gay man do I want to be if I get the fucking chance? So I thought I'd be an older gay, obviously, there's no denying that, but I thought I'd live in Brighton, but have a little interior design business up in London. I thought I'd spend a lot of time at moaning about young gays. They don't know how fucking lucky they are compared to what we used to have to put up with in the 1970s. And I thought I'd still do a bit of MDMA at weekends. That's the sort of gay man I'm going to be if I get the fucking chance. I'm actually the proud father of a gay son, and that has been an adventure and an education, but most of all, it's just been lovely, you know. And if I could share one thing that I've learned from bringing up a gay son that you might need to know, you never know, and I think it's the most important thing we all need to know, and that is that they are fucking expensive. Oy vey, expensive. I mean, my straight sons, as I now have to call them, obviously, you know what they're like. You give them a football, they fuck off, you never see them again for the rest of their life. Oh, not my gay son, it's fucking Wagamama's, Tate, modern tickets to Jersey Boys, Taylor Swift concerts, sewing machine. On and fucking on with this gay lifestyle. It is costing me a fortune. I should be retired, look at me. I'm having to do these gigs to keep him in the gay lifestyle that he's become accustomed to. I'm not even joking. Now, obviously, you can't always tell the sexuality of your kids. Who knows where people are going to end up? And there's so many options these days. But with him, there was a sign early on. This is how young he was. It was Christmas. We bought him a Bob the Builder set, OK? I'm watching him unwrap it. He's ignored all the tools. He's seen the yellow construction helmet. Put it on his head, started dancing. I rest my fucking case. In case you don't know, gay men are inescapably attracted to construction helmets. It's a scientific fact. They're hardwired for hard hats. I kept all the tools from the Bob the Builder set, however, just in case I have a lesbian daughter at some point in the future. Special moment with my gay son. He's always been very political about his sexuality, and he went on his first Pride March when he was very, very young. And you know what he did? It's so good. He came in to show me his outfit for Pride. It was a lovely moment, but it was also the moment where I looked at him and thought, you're never actually going to play for West Ham, are you? Actually, it seems to me, though, if you're a football dad, it's not a gay son you want, is it? It's a gay daughter. The Lionesses, for fuck's sake. I mean, virtually all gay team. How incredible is that? I wish they'd changed the name, though. I'm not happy with the name, you know. Lionesses. I feel like we're living in a post-colonial world, and here we are still stealing stuff from Africa. Lions. I don't know if you know this, but they're not indigenous to England. I thought, why didn't they show some national pride and use an English animal, for fuck's sake? Weasels. The weaselesses. I've done my research. They're tenacious. They're very fast over a short distance. They're very community-minded. They'd be brilliant. Listen, I went through every animal. I thought, just don't use beavers and he'll be okay. I used to worry that he might want to come out. Do you know that? Because I'm from a generation where gay people used to have to come out to force the issue. They've got a coming out story. The moment they told their parents they'd be gay, you know, and what happened, I thought, I hope he doesn't want to do this fucking shit, man. Well, I already know he's gay. I'd have to pretend. I wouldn't be convincing. I'd be rubbish, you know. Oh, gay. Get out of the house, you know. Take your construction helmet collection with you. Now what I worry about if he comes out, he turns the tables on us, you know. Mum, Dad, I've got something to tell you. I'm straight. I'll be fucking devastated. I also think, rightfully, a little bit annoyed, actually. You know, you're fucking what? All that money I spent on you because I thought you were gay and now you want to be straight. No fucking way, mate. You are gay. You can come out, but you can't come in. All those hours I spent sitting in Wagamama's. You know I hate Wagamama's. I'm in there, barely able to afford to drink the free green tea because he's in there, ramening it up to the fucking max. But I still could be wrong. You can't always tell with kids, can you? He's only 11.
One of the biggest triggers, though, for people like me and my fairly unique condition of living beyond my means with no sense of recourse is, of course, the humble upsell in a shop. I can't resist this. It's predatory behaviour that this still exists, and I've campaigned against it, but it's still there. But it's to a point now where I don't go into shops if I can avoid it, but sometimes it's inevitable. I went down to the petrol station to get some petrol, right, obviously, and I filled up the car and I looked across and some gutless wonder had done a jet snot on that keypad at the pay of the Bowser machine. It's like, oh shit, I can't touch that. That's disgusting. I'm going to have to go inside and speak to another human like a rusty old dinosaur. Pay for my fuel inside the shop. Yuck. But I went in there, right, into the shop, and I walked up the counter. The first thing I saw was this big bucket of hockey straps right next to the counter. Really good quality, $5 a pop. So, yes, please. Didn't know I wanted one, but I'm going to have one of them. I'll have the yellow one with a black and blue fleck through it. Thank you very much. And for anyone here who doesn't know what an hockey strap is, maybe a foreigner has snuck in without my knowledge. An hockey strap, it's a length of elastic with a metal hook at each end that dads used to use on Boxing Day to strap shit to the roofs of their cars while yelling at the kids. Sometimes, pre-nanny state, shopping trolley collectors would use one to remove an eyeball. Back when men were men, I wouldn't have had to explain that. We're here now, aren't we? But anyway, there it was, big bucket of hockey straps, $5. I said, yes, please, I'll have one of them. And the slinky little opportunist behind the counter, he's seen me coming, the predator. He said, look, you could get one for $5, or you could get 3 for 10. You should get 3 for 10, man. It just makes sense. You never know when you need an extra hockey strap. You should get 3 for 10. But I held strong. I said, look, rack off, you fucking crumb. I'm not in the market for 3 hockey straps. I only want one. And how dare you tell me what does and doesn't make sense? You got some neck. I'm just going to have the one hockey strap, thanks, and the petrol, thanks very much. God bless and have a nice day. And then just got on with my business. So then this is what happened to me afterwards, Rod. I used to work with this guy. I knew him, and he was a genius. And the bar has been lowered on genius, don't worry. There was a time when to be a genius, you'd have to do something quite noteworthy with your brain. Not anymore. Now you can just set up a power tool to do something it wasn't designed for. And all your dickhead mates will look at you at lunchtime, sit down and lop the top off your tin of tuna with an angle grinder and call you a fucking genius. It's insane. This is when I knew things had changed, right. Some workmates and I go down to the beach in the morning before work for a dip. And in the winter months, it gets a bit frisky, making it more of a challenge to go to the toilet in the ocean. So I started before going in. I just sit on the beach and just pee in my shorts. And then go in. And for deliberately wetting myself, my boss called me a genius. That's when I knew the goalpost had shifted somewhat in terms of what constitutes a genius. But this particular genius, right, he's one of those extra fridge in the garage alcoholics. Like a proper worm to the tomb polluter. And he'd set up a fourth television in his house so he could watch the cricket while he's on the toot. And never miss a ball. And all his mates, they catalogued that fourth television thing as an act of genius. That's insane. And this Pugh on the soap's name was... His name was Wayne. So it's like already Wayne, which is a ticking time bomb to death by misadventure. His parents had looked down on him as a baby in the hospital and thought, how do we knock 30 plus years life expectancy off our beautiful, healthy baby boy Wayne? I know. Give me a pen and the birth certificate, I'll sort it out right now. Put an extra Y in the end. And like a lot of premature death candidates, an extra Y somewhere in the name will do the job. And then the clock was ticking on Wayne's life. And it gets said a lot about tortured artistic geniuses that they often die in their 20s, but then so too do alcoholic car enthusiasts. And Wayne was no different. When he was a tender 29 years old, Jesus wanted Wayne for a sunbeam. Wayne went off to be with the Lord very soon after his de facto had taken off with the dog and the car in one hit, causing all his friends to say that Wayne died of a broken heart. Although the coroner did suggest that a drunken high-speed quad bike ride on a dirt road at midnight with no lights or helmet were contributing factors.
Paedophile hunters are real. They're these guys who are trapping paedophiles by pretending to be children. This is online, by the way. They're not going around in school uniform and a big net. Got one! They go online and they set up an account and they pretend to be a kid. And then they start chatting to different people online, and eventually they chat to a paedophile. They ask to meet up, they turn up. I'm not a 14-year-old boy, you idiot. I'm a paedophile hunter. You're under arrest. Now, the police aren't happy about this at all. The police are saying it's interfering with their investigations, so the police are trying to catch these paedophile hunters by pretending to be paedophiles. The police are going online, setting up accounts, pretending to be paedophiles, chatting to the paedophile hunters who are pretending to be children. They all arrange to meet up. I'm not a 14-year-old boy, I'm a paedophile hunter. You're under arrest. No, I'm not, because I am not a paedophile. I'm a police officer. You're under arrest. This is happening all over the UK. If you ever see two blokes arguing near a playground, there's a high chance that's a police officer and a paedophile hunter. I think Prince Andrew could be an undercover police officer.
I don't go to the doctors very often, so when I do, I just give him everything that's wrong with me. And in no particular order at all. I'm just like, help me, right? And I go in, I'm just really honest. I go, doctor, me and my wife went to Whitby on holiday recently, and I don't know if you know Whitby, but there's very high cliffs in Whitby, and the whole time I was there, I kept getting intrusive thoughts to jump off the cliff, jump off the cliff, jump off the cliff. Then one night, doctor, me and my wife were walking along the pier, and I see an old couple kind of leaning up the pier, eating fish and chips. And I very vividly imagine clotheslining the old couple off that pier, and I'm clearly seeing them in my mind falling and smashing against the rocks, and their elderly, blooded, frail bodies in the fish and the chips just washing into the ocean. And do you think this is athlete's foot? It's a bit red on the side there, I don't know if you could see that.
There is someone who I'm trying to emulate, by the way. It's not just like doom and gloom. I have like a hero who has a good time, who I'm trying to follow and learn from. I heard about him from a friend of mine. He's like my cool friend. He goes all around the world going to techno concerts? Recitals, techno recitals. I don't know anything about that. I read big books about the Second World War with different guys. So he goes all to the techno recitals, and he was telling me about a techno venue in Berlin called Berghain, right? Now, Berghain, it's like a 5-story former industrial site, originally very much a sort of gay BDSM techno club, and they've expanded their remit to almost any BDSM. And you can queue up and stuff, but you can't like pay to skip the queue or pay to get in. It's very exclusive in a way money can't buy. It's very trendy, very discerning. Obviously outside there's a guy dressed as a tramp. Oh, I wish I was being fisted by a Hungarian man. Anything to enhance the fun inside. And when you go inside, it's like amazing techno DJs and like people like having sex and doing drugs. It's like the apocalypse in there. And he's telling me all about it, and I've got nothing. Oh, it sounds like Sicily 43. I got nothing. And he says there's a guy who's quite well known, and you meet him in the sort of gents' toilet, right? And what he does is you go in there, and he has sort of tied himself up under the big trough in the loo, yeah? And if you go to the loo for a wee, this guy will ask you in English and German very politely if you wouldn't mind, sir, perhaps considering having a wee on him as well, because it's his favorite. And if you say no, he's like, no worries, you have a good night. You know, it's all very civilized, in context. And he is known colloquially as the Piss Goblin. And you can Google him, Piss Goblin Berlin, as I did, seconds after this conversation finished. And I don't know if there's anyone I currently admire more than the Goblin. I really mean it. Even as my friend was describing the Piss Goblin, I was thinking, now here is a guy with no questions left. This guy knows who he is. This guy knows what he wants. Piss. But it's a big deal to know what you want, isn't it, out of life? There's a lot of people in this room who don't know what they want yet. This guy's got it nailed down. He knows what he wants. And he goes and he gets it. Even if you're sitting here and you know what you want. Have you got it yet? The Goblin has. The Piss Goblin knows what he wants. He goes and he gets it. Where does he get it? Somewhere he is safe and known and accepted for who he is. There's no one in this room as fulfilled as the Piss Goblin. He's the freest man I know, and he's chained to a urinal. I can't imagine the inner strength it gives him, knowing that all that stuff's just figured out. He's out there now, some regional German civil servant. He's filling in report after report into Autobahn maintenance, you know. His boss is a real dick. Wo sind diese Berichte? Schnell! And he's like, I'm doing them, my God! Oh, roll on, Freitag. Oh. Lieben für das Weekend, recht? Ja.
Like I saw a meth head, or a gentleman that smokes meth, if you will, get on the tram in Melbourne, and he got on and he went like this. Transformers, more than meets the eye. It must be good to let go, you know what I mean? Do you know how many times I've been in meetings or whatever and wish I'd just gone, Decepticons! And like, I'm not trying to have a go at meth heads. Like, my cousin was a meth addict and he recovered, but I'll tell you something fascinating about it. The meth energy never goes. You got that shit for life. Like, he's still fucking... Literally, he's like that in conversations. But now it's about granola. You know what I mean? Like, sick granola, man. How many fibers are in there? Fucking antioxidants. Sick! Like, he walks into organic shops like, fuck. Where's your fucking goji berries, cunt? This meth head, he's walking up and down the tram, he's screaming, he's having arguments he never got to win. He's having them again where he wins them. I fucking told you, Trevor, and I was fucking right, wasn't I? You didn't fucking listen, did you? You didn't fucking listen! And then he turns to a woman standing next to me, and he goes, you're attractive. Everyone's like, holy fuck, holy fuck, holy fuck. He says to the whole tram, women are the most intelligent of the species. Then he says this, sorry, if you identify as a woman. What the fuck? I did not see that coming. That fucking blew my mind. In Melbourne, even the lunatics awoke. Before he got on the tram, he's like, I'd like to announce that my pronouns are they, them. Now I'm going to get my cock out and wave it around like a helicopter. But nobody said anything because they're too intimidated. No one's going to tell a meth head to shut up. People think meth heads start screaming on the tram. They don't. They start in the park or whatever, a little bit like, fuck you, cunt. Like a little bit. That's their open mic. They're like learning, like, and then, fuck you, like, trying it. And then, like, then they're in the street shoving people. That's when they're in the support stage. Like, by the time they get on public transport, they've got a boombox. They're headlining. Fucking, fuck you, like, they're fucking cut, like, boom, boom. Like, that's it. Other meth heads are looking at them going, how'd you get that fucking tram? Bullshit. Like, they're jealous. Because no one's ever going to tell, like, a meth head to shut up because it's too intimidating. It's like really, really hot people. Like, really attractive people. No one ever tells them to shut up and they just get crazier and crazier. Like, if Margot Robbie walks on the bus and just goes, can I sit there? You're like, absolutely you can. Welcome. Oh, my God. Yes, of course. Thank you. Yes. Fucking meth head walks on. He's got a chicken in a bag. He's got a tin of peaches. He's like, I'm sitting there. Absolutely you are, my friend. Welcome. Thank you. Good to see you. Thank you. Welcome.
I met my boyfriend through a friend, but it wasn't like in a gay bar or on Grindr. Gay bars in Glasgow, though, like they tend to be more intimidating than in other cities. Like if you go to a gay bar in Glasgow and you drop your phone, you're just gonna have to kick it home. The thing is, it's also like during lockdown, it's a difficult time to get in a relationship because you're trapped in the same house. It's like The Shining every single day. And we had arguments, because every couple argues, unless you're creepy. You know those couples that you meet, they never argue, and they glide up to you at parties being like, we never ever argue. You're looking at them and you're thinking, one of you is going to be on the news someday. But I'm trying to do that as well. Also, because, like, you know what? By the way, in case any straight people are wondering, like, because a lot of my straight mates are like, oh, you're in a relationship with another guy. Oh, man, that must be better. You must just watch football and bum all day. It's like, no, I wish. Every relationship has the exact same dynamic. Whether you're gay or straight, it's always the same dynamic. Every relationship is always made up of an organised person and a disorganised person. And I can see who's in a relationship because you're now looking at each other going, you'd be living in a bin if it wasn't for me. The reason why you get together is because organised people are attracted to disorganised. Because the first time they see them, they fall for a trick. Because they go, wow, they're so laid back. They must have everything organised. And then a few months passes, the smoke screen leaves you, and you're just left going, how are you not dead yet? And by this point, it's too late, because you're thinking, I wonder if I should break up with them, because I thought they'd be organised, but in fact they're disorganised, and I'm having to organise my life and their life. I'm exhausted, I haven't slept ever since I met them. Oh my, maybe I should break up with them. I can't break up with them. I've made plans for us both. It's going to totally ruin that spreadsheet I made for us.
But I'm the disorganised one in the relationship. You probably can tell. Big surprise. But you can usually tell, if you can't tell which one you are, organised people usually give themselves away in an argument, right? Because if you're like... Organised people, by the way, I love you. But... you're organised. No, I need you. I need you in my life. But when organised people are in arguments, and I'm sorry for this next bit, but in arguments, you're so sweet. I don't want to say anything bad about organised people, and please do. Okay, cool. Fucking bitch. You're American as well, yeah? Oh, cool. I could hear from your accent. Yeah, I know. I love as well. I called you a bitch and you laughed and you're almost in a kind of American kind of thing of, oh my God, Scottish culture. Come on, get on with it and call me. I can't. Come on. In arguments, organised people have this ability that freaks disorganised ones out. In an argument, organised people do the thing of they don't have to argue about things at the time. They can store them up. It's almost like they've got a box in their brain. Oh, I didn't like that comment there. It's not big enough for an argument now, though. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take the comment that you just said, I'm gonna put it into this box, and then when we have a big argument, that'll be the ammo. There's no room for context in the box, I'm afraid. Intent doesn't fit in there either. I'm getting used to the thing of being in a relationship because I've been single for like a year and a half, and that's what I want. I was like, oh, I want to be in a relationship. I want to get called special by somebody and them not do the air quotes. Oh man, there's one thing you have to learn in a relationship, I've noticed, is when your partner comes home from work and tells you about their day. That's fine. Don't mind that at all. But you know when they start telling you about the person that they work with that they don't like? And the number one rule is you have to take your partner's side. Even though the other person is probably right. But in order for you to take your partner's side, your partner, when they're quoting that other person, will give them the bitchiest voice ever. They'll be like, oh God, you never guess what Sandra said to me today. I was like, hi Sandra, can you please take your stuff out of the fridge? Because it is actually my fridge. And you wouldn't believe what Sandra said to me then. She was all like, that's my injections and I've got diabetes. And I was like, oh, but Sandra, please, it's getting in the way of my sticky toffee pudding. It's inconvenient. And you wouldn't believe what Sandra said then. She was all like, excuse me, I don't want to die today. And you're listening to this, and you're thinking, if you were to read the transcript of that conversation, you'd be like, I think Sandra had a point here. But you can't say that, because who knows what voice they would give to you. That's one of the main rules of the relationship. I never expected as well to go out with a posh person with a job. Well, my mum's very posh. She's a posh Scot. My mum talks like this. Have you ever heard a posh Scot talk before? It is like this. So my mum sounds like a whale. She's one of those posh people that don't seem to have any bones. Like, you know the ones you see them like gliding through Waitrose, like. I have to do that again because you won't know what Waitrose is in America. Gliding through the mall. My mum's so I love her laugh though, right? Her laugh's amazing. And I know you're not going to think it's that amazing compared to other ones. had tonight. Wouldn't it be amazing if it was actually just somebody with a YouTube video on repeat of just somebody falling down a well? Just turn the lights on, it's just a truck reversing. But my mum's laugh is so funny, right? Because she only ever gives you one ha, and then her voice is extraordinary. It's just hee. So easy to find her at a party. Hee. Say that's your mum or a carbon monoxide detector. Sometimes you get a few ha's off of her. She'll be going, hee, 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 hee. I can never find her at the supermarket. I've only ever seen my mum like laugh her head off a few times. All the ha's come together very quickly. Like, my dad was sat next to me, goes, Jesus, Mary, you sound like a metal detector. My dad's working class. I actually don't know what I am because my dad raised me working class in a middle class household. Basically, we had a cleaner, but we stole from her. But they are very funny. They've got good banter, my parents. Like, you know that mate, right? My parents are this, right? You know that mate that if they think you're wrong about anything, they'll bet you £10 on it. Being like, oh no, mate, you're completely wrong. Bet you a tenner. They bet on elections, which makes it more interesting when it's not going your way. At least, like, they always vote Conservative though. And obviously I'm not a fan, right? And I did try and change my mum's mind. I was like, Mum, why are you voting Conservative? And Mum was like, well, Larry, when you get older, you become more right-wing. That's why I think the Conservatives never win in Scotland. We do not live long enough. But they are very Catholic, though. That's probably why they vote that way. Because my mum and dad are Catholic, and I'm Catholic as well. And obviously not a good Catholic now. Now I'm just an overqualified altar boy. So I hope I didn't offend any pedos in the audience with that joke. It's something you have to worry about is offending people now, isn't it? You have to worry about offending them. And the thing is, I actually wanted to be a squeaky clean comedian for a long time. Genuinely, I really wanted to. All right, I can do it now. Right, hold on. I wanted to be this guy. Right, here we go. All right, here we go. I wanted to be this comedian. I wanted to be a London observational comedian. I tell you what's busy, guys. The underground. Where is everybody going? You could take a car, couldn't you? But a congestion charge, get lost. I was in King's Cross the other day and I was like, King's Cross? Why doesn't the Queen cheer him up then? London observational comic. Hope you enjoyed him. He'll be back later. Oh, by the way, Scottish people, do you know that English people tend to think we're backwards? It's so weird, because when I moved down to England, loads of Londoners were like, oh my God, have you just moved down from Glasgow to London to escape homophobia? Are you a gay refugee in London? As the Scottish people are not homophobic, we've got a rule in this country. It's either you're a good cunt or a bad cunt. Your race, your gender, your sexual orientation doesn't play a part in it. But if you try and make that play a part in somebody else, you're a bad cunt. That's how we work it. It's a really simple system. I think, though, Scottish people just love proving other people wrong. We love it so much. I think we probably used to be homophobic, and then somebody told us that we were. We're like, all right, you think we're homophobic? I'm going to have sex with this man just to prove England's wrong. Oh, flower of Scotland, and will we see? We don't even need to use the word gay in Scotland. We've got... Scottish people have this strange ability. They can describe somebody as a homosexual by using any noun. All right, is that guy a bit of a blueberry? There's a set of maracas over there. English people can do it, but they can only use activities to describe somebody as gay. Be like, oh God, he's the kind of guy who likes to leave the windows open. Oh, Barry loves a fundraiser. Bet you wear your slippers round the house. I moved down to England a long time ago. I moved back and I had to live with my parents again. And oh man, the banter was too much. I had to move out again. See, living with my mum, that's the thing, right? My mum would take the piss out of me, which I'm fine with because I'd make fun of her voice. Because me and my mum don't always see eye to eye because hers at the side of her head. Whale joke. But my mum loves making fun of my stammer. I've got a stammer. Sometimes I have it. It just comes out randomly. It's trying to see why I'm good at doing voices, because I had to cover up my stammer for ages. And my mum loves the fact I've got a stammer. I was on the phone to her yesterday, right, and she was at the shops. I was like, Mum, are you at the shops? I was like, yeah, I'm at the shops. What do you want? It's like, can you get me a sandwich and a muffin? Okay, I'll get you a sandwich and 23 muffins.
The problem with English people is that they think they're factory default. You know what I mean? Like, there's English, and then everybody else is so weird. That's because you grow up with English people, you don't know anything different, and they're on TV, you just think that's normal. When you've never met English people before, and you meet them for the first time, I'm here to tell you that you guys are fucking freaks. You're spooky, and I'm done pretending I enjoy your company, right? What are you on about, ever? And I moved to London at the age of 18 to study classical music at a music college. So I met the Englishest of English people of all time. Like, if you cross Benedict Cumberbatch with a crumpet, like, that's who I was dealing with. I remember moving over. I was very, very stressed, very upset about moving away from Belfast and moving in with all these English people. I was unpacking in residential halls, and my mum was there, and she was trying to talk me down from this emotional height. She was like, listen, Vittorio, they're not all bastards. They just talk like that. I was like, no, they're fucking dickheads, man. They think I'm drunk, they think I'm lazy, they think I'm stupid just because of my accent. I'm fucking sick of English people. It's day one in England, and I've got them sussed. I'm sick of it. I want to go home. She was like, no, they don't think any of those things. You're being silly. You're just getting stressed about moving away, and you're trying to come up with excuses to get away with it. You're stressed about moving away. You're coming up with excuses, right? I was like, oh, fuck's sake. She was like, I've got 6 new flatmates. I'm sure they're lovely. Go into the kitchen, introduce yourself, give them a chance. I was like, okay, I'll give them a chance. Went down to the kitchen, introduced myself, and first person I met was a girl called Eva. And Eva was one of my flatmates in the first year. And she studied at a secondary school called the Purcell School, which is a specialist music secondary school. There's a few of them around the country. And most people that go to specialist music secondary schools end up at music college. So it's not like normal unis, where everyone arrives, you're all strangers, you're just trying to figure out what your friendship group's going to be for the next 3 or 4 years. They arrive in pre-made cliques with the dorkiest in-jokes you've ever heard in your whole life, and you have to just pretend it's cool when you arrive. I walked in, I was like, Eva, what should we do tonight? And she went, I tell you what we should do. We should play this game that we played at the Purcell School. It's a drinking game where you listen to Mozart and you drink every time it changes key. I was like, or we could all jump out the window. Because that sounds equally fun to me. I didn't actually say that. I didn't say anything. I just stood up, left the kitchen, phoned my mum, like, you lied, they're all bastards, actually. She was like, no, you just met a weird one. Go down to the bar. It's the first night of Freshers Week. Give them another chance. Introduce yourself to English people. It's like, okay, I'll give them another chance. Went down to the bar, tried to introduce myself to English people, tried to give them a chance. Walked up to an English guy. I was like, all right, mate, what's the crack? That was a mistake. Because when you say, what's the crack to English people, you guys freak out. You do this double take that's also like something out of the film Predator. I'm like, what's the crack? And they're like, oh my God. Are you Irish? Oh my God. I'm Irish? Because you don't want to say, no, you're not. Because obviously I live in England, and if and when I have kids, they'll probably have English accents. See if they ever come up to me like, oh, Daddy, I'm English. I'll kick them in the face. So I get it. But you keep going through, you find out all these mad English traditions. They're like, oh my God, it's bonfire night. I'm like, what's bonfire night? Because we don't have bonfire night in Belfast. We do. It's just not in November. And it's a different vibe, I think. I think Ross Kemp goes to your one slightly less often. So I was like, what's bonfire night? They're like, oh my God, it's great. We have fireworks. I'm like, why do you have fireworks? So there was this guy, cold guy, and he tried to blow up Parliament. So every year we're like, woohoo! Because we killed him. What? No, listen, no. All I'm saying is I'm from Belfast. If you're putting on celebrations for people trying to blow up London, when's my night? They find out you're from Belfast, they always ask the same question, like, oh my God, you're from Belfast. What is all the fuss about? Fuss is an interesting word to use for civil war. No, what is the difference between Catholics and Protestants? I'm like, Protestants, icebreakers? No. Because they're natural predators. Realistically, it all comes down to transubstantiation. If you don't know what that means, basically means that Catholics genuinely believe that the bread and wine turns into the body and blood of Jesus Christ. And Protestants genuinely believe that Rangers are going to win the league. But I like English people sometimes. I think English people make me laugh quite a lot. Past 5 or 6 years, English people have really started making me laugh. They started saying a really funny thing. In the past 5 or 6 years, English people have started complaining about living in a divided country. Did I not say that right? That is hysterical. It's so difficult living in such a divided country. Do you know what you guys did? Everywhere? Do you know how many whatever the fuckistans there are? You went round the world drawing random lines through everyone else's country, and you have one referendum. You're like, this is tricky. This is tricky.
Oh man, I love to smoke joints, but I've had to quit it for the sake of my job because my memory was getting so bad I had to Google the phrase double bike because I no longer knew the word for tandem. I've been smoking heavily for like a year, and I was like, all that stuff about memories is just government conspiracy theories. And then I went to say the name of I've been going out with the same person for 8 years, so I know his name, right? His name's Connor. I went to say his name, and I thought, is this Connor even called Connor? Who knows? Just act confident. See, when I was growing up, whenever I saw Scottish comedy on telly, it seemed to rely on slagging off Scotland, and it was a kind of shtick that was like, oh, aren't we all just fat, illiterate bastards eating chips out of bin? That's what it was, right? I don't like slagging off Scotland. I'm not comfortable with it, apart from one crucial thing, and that is the world of Scottish amateur pornography. Which I made the terrible mistake of watching. This is a real category of porn. I'm not making it up for the show. Don't watch it. But a lot of you are drinking, you easy. He's cheersing, he's seen it. Scottish porn's the most depressing porn I've ever seen. Comes a close second to Russian porn, and at least in that they're skinny, but it's in that bleak, we did this for a piece of bread kind of way. I've watched literally every Scottish porn on the internet for the purposes of this show. Some of the clips, you're like, how can I even tell these people are Scottish? There's not much dialogue. Let me tell you, I knew. With a depressing inevitability, I knew my own people. Because it was just pale, hairy white bellies smashing against each other in close up like water balloons filled with yoghurt. Every few seconds, a wee voice off camera would go, oh, aye. Or memorably, tug on my pubes, Rona! I clicked on this Pornhub clip. It said, Scottish girl fucked in London. When I put it on, literally just footage of me paying £1,000 a month to live in a basement. And I watch, like, amateur stuff rather than slickly shot professional stuff because it's more ethical. That's what a hipster am. It's more ethical. What they lack in muscle tone or symmetrical facial features, they make up for with a large degree of enthusiasm. You know what I mean? I can see who watches it, yeah. I've had to stop watching it and go back to the professional stuff. I'll tell you why. Firstly, can't control the soundtracks in people's homemade sex tapes. I had to turn off someone's amateur porno because they were playing the song Everybody's Changing by Keane in the background. Oh, which will come first, climax or me killing myself? And here's another thing. I don't judge any of you if you want to make a sex tape, but for the love of God, would you lock up the pets beforehand? You know the number of times I've just sadly closed my laptop during a porno? Because there's been a couple pumping away in the foreground, really happy, really oblivious to just the sight of their proud cat sauntering in the background. Meow! This is my time to shine! I put one on the other day. It had a couple were just dry humping American college amateurs, and in the background there was just a sad little Yorkshire Terrier. Dogs are pure innocence and goodness, just looking at them like, please take me a walk. I watch lesbian porn, mostly because straight porn is largely made for straight men, so it'll have these blowjob scenes that go on for 10 to 15 to 20 minutes. Well, why don't I just watch someone file a tax return?
I don't know what it is about old people getting scammed. They just get scammed. Constantly. For some reason, when they fucking get that call, hello, hello, this is the president of the world,
Oh, hello, Mr. President. Thank you for calling me. I'll send my credit card immediately. I must. Thank you. You ever been hacked? Ever been hacked and sent everyone you know and love porn? Ever done that? My auntie, Janice, she got a porn from me. She got porn link. She thinks I sent it to her. She thinks I sent that to her. XXX porn, fuck now! Oh, Damien sent an email. It's unbelievable. Can't believe. She thinks I sent that to her. We can't talk about it. You know what I mean? Like, I can't bring it up. I can't double down and pretend I sent it on purpose. Sculptor and go, hey, what's up, Janice? Fucking, you see that video I sent you or what? It's off the hook. Oh, yeah, she got rammed, yeah. She thinks I sent that to her. I know she saw it too. She fucking acts weird now. She's like, hello. She won't look at me. Hello. Hello, Damien. Good to see you. Hello. Hello. Fucking, I can see the gangbang. I can fucking see it in the eyes. That's a very unique humiliation to our time. That's a very unique humiliation to think that I sent that. Do you know how hard it would be to get that humiliated before the internet? Someone would have to dress up as you and pretend fully to be you and go door to door to your closest friends and family, like, hello, Grandma? Yes, who is it? It's Grandma, it's your grandson, Damien Power. Oh, Damien, what are you doing here? A college slut's looking to fuck. What? What are you talking about? Ray-Bans 50% off. Grandma. There's MILFs in your area, Grandma. There's MILFs. No, the MILFs are back. It's... I like MILFs in your area because it implies they migrate.
This mechanic, he kept saying the word roughly, right? He's like, it's roughly quite a big job. It's roughly going to take 1 to 2 days. Like, he kept saying the word roughly, and he got so in the habit of saying it that he started saying it when he was asking for my details. He was like, roughly, what's your phone number? I'm like, if you want a ballpark, it's about $500 million.
And I have to say, and I don't really know how to reveal this, but I've got a few kids, they're all fucking boring. I know. None of them drink, none of them take drugs. Where have I gone wrong? And I think what's happened is they've rebelled. You know, kids rebel against their parents' culture. That's all right if your parents are conservative, straight and boring. They've rebelled against my having it large culture. Yeah. So you know at Christmas when you get a bit of cocaine in, right? Even if I haven't had any throughout the year, get a little bit at Christmas. It's like a family tradition now. Get a bit of bootros in, as we call it, bootros, Garley, Charlie. So at Christmas, my kids come round, they're all grown up, they bring their kids, I'm the granddad. I have to go into the bathroom of my own fucking house to do my Charlie in secret. But last year, even I thought I might be getting a bit too old for this shit. I looked down, I was actually chopping up my Charlie with my senior citizens rail card. I know. You see how boring my kids are? One of my daughters, she's fantastic. You know, I don't know, you have ideas, you have hopes and dreams for your kids, and they don't always see them through. I wanted her to be in a band or be a sort of punk poet or run a left-wing bookshop. She's in digital fucking marketing. But this is how boring she is. She phoned me up, this was during lockdown actually, so she was a bit younger. And she brought up the subject of drugs. And she went, Dad, I went, yeah. She went, you know cocaine? I went, of course I do, my darling. Why do you think you've always lived in rented accommodation? And she said, what's it like? I went, what do you mean? What's it like? She went, when you take it, how does it make you feel? I went, no, I know what what's it like means. What I don't understand is why someone in their 20s is asking someone in their 60s what cocaine's like. I've got to tell you, my darling, you've turned out to be a real fucking disappointment.
But we hate that fly. Remember the fly? Because it's just hovering over the cupcake, making it all disgusting. It does nothing. It's unemployed. Love the bee, though. Yeah? Because it's out there, pollinating jacarandas. Fly in, fly out. FIFO. It's a fly in high-vis. Now, if flies started cleaning up dog shit as opposed to hovering over it, we'd start respecting them and it'd be illegal to spray them. The only difference between animal cruelty and pest control is the work ethic of the insect. And you know the insect known as the wasp? I'm not talking about white Anglo-Saxon Protestant. I'll be explaining the subtext as we go along. I'm talking about the insect. It's got all the unemployment of the fly and all the violence of the bee, just in the worst corporate merger of all time. A wasp is like that construction worker that's been sacked, but they're still hanging around. Just, yeah, I used to work for Rio Tinto. But you think of all these creatures. You think of the bee. They've got a hive. That's nice. Bit of community. Even the wasp, as debauched a creature as it is, still has a nest. More of a share house turned into a meth lab vibe, but nonetheless, a community. Then you look at the fly, no headquarters. Freelancing, they're sole traders. Air tasker, doing tasks in the air. There's a piece of dog shit on Kent Street. Get to it, boys. They're all just knocking each other out of the way. There's no camaraderie. And if they die in transit, no one investigates. Like a Deliveroo. But yeah, so that's... But it's weird.
Well, one thing they have done quite well, right, nerds, is that they've started making podcasts. But you know, people said to me, you should listen to podcasts. And podcasts, to me, are just really unhygienic former encouragement award recipients in pairs, delivering an unsolicited frame-by-frame analysis of a fucking movie made specifically for children. Every week, forever. And that's necessary. But people said to me, you could learn a lot from podcasts, mate. You should listen to them. I started listening to them, right, because I listen. And I started listening to the crime ones. And who doesn't love crime? What a boon that's been for all of us. Can you imagine a world without murders to solve? What an absolute bore. I, for one, wouldn't want to live there. But they said you can learn some stuff, mate. Listen to podcasts. So I started listening to crime ones. And I learned one thing. I noticed that the police... even more incompetent than I first thought. Unbelievable. And don't get me wrong, I quite like the fuzz, right? One time, a tree fell down across our street. They turned up, directed traffic around it, did a pretty good job. You know? Sometimes they got on horses and just plough through a throng of people to remind us to continue to behave ourselves. Who here hasn't walked out the front of a footy stadium and felt the squelch of a Clydesdale turd right up the side of their sandal? But I feel safe now. Knowing that if things turn south, I might earn myself a taxpayer-funded kick in the face from a half-ton animal. So, one thing they have done very well too, I don't want to rip into the pigs, I quite like them. They've pretty much gotten rid of drink driving in about a generation and a half. It's been a lot of hard work and they've done a very good job of this. But there are still a few men out there living the dream. I know some, and every drink driving story I've ever heard, it always starts with, look, I shouldn't have done that. And it ends with, man, if only I'd done this one little thing differently, the bastards wouldn't have caught me. I should have just stuck to the back streets like I usually do. I pulled out on the main road. The bacon was set up right there, the pricks. What are they doing anyway? Why aren't they out there catching the real crooks? Instead of hassling a good bloke like me, just going about his business, committing a crime. And all of these blokes, they've got a theory on how to sober up in a hurry. Everyone's got one of these. They're all bullshit. None of them work. I've got to tell you. It's all like, oh, you know what you should do, mate? You should have a 5-minute nap, a 10-minute shower, bloody run around the car 4 times. Bloody drink 7 litres of water, get a punch in the face from your best mate in between each litre. Yeah. Do 12 push-ups. But it's bullshit. None of them work. In my experience, the only thing that will sober you up in a very big hurry is to just run over someone on your way home from the pub. Yeah. Oh. If you're not awake after that, you may never be. So the other thing I quite like about the cops, right, is their complete lack of shame and embarrassment in asking for help to solve a crime. From the very same public who pay their fucking wages. And on a personal level, I don't mind this. I can't tell you how many times a squad car full of the filth had turned up at my work and said, "What is that, mate? Is that 4 pallets of bricks that you've got to carry up 10 flights of stairs? No problem. Get out, fellas. Let's muck in and help this guy out." And at the end of the day, I say, "Thanks, lads. That was really nice of you." In return, I'll just keep my ear to the ground around the neighbourhood and give you a tingle if something pops up. This is what happened to me in terms of the cops, right? I was embroiled in a street brawl, and it was a big one. It was one of those ones where later on, onlookers get referred to as witnesses. It was huge. The street got shut off, made the news, everything. It was a massive fight. There was heaps of fights breaking out, spot fights all over. The particular localised melee I was involved in ended up, there's like 2-on-2s, few 1-on-1 fights. The one I was in, it ended up being 1 versus 6. And I like to say I gave a good account of myself, but then there were 6 of us, so... A little tip from the top. If you're involved in a street fight and there's a man walking towards you and he does that spit through his teeth, he's a fucking good fighter. You don't learn to do that until you cracked a few skulls. It was also one of those fights where improvised weapons were being used, which is a disturbing trend that's only begun since the nanny state took all our guns. I saw a guy sliding a tin of spaghetti into a sock. That's what we've been reduced to in terms of street weaponry. It's embarrassing on a world scale. Anyway, the fight kicked off. It was a massive fight. And the boys in blue turned up. 4 of them at first, heaps later on. But the first 4 who rolled up, they're all walking abreast along the footpath towards the fight. And 2 of them were chewing gum, and one of them had a neck tat. They look like a modern-day slips cordon that I'm supposed to respect. And the 4th one, he was fat. And, I don't care. Follow your dreams. It's nothing to... It's fine. I'm all for equal employment opportunities. I'm not a fascist. In fact, I'm a campaigner. I'm not going to rest until everyone with a lisp has a job on the radio. And all firemen are wheelchair bound. Or fire women, don't panic. Women can be disabled now too if they want. But this was like a fat, like not a bit overweight, he's a proper fat cop, but that's, whatever. But this is something I'll be teaching my kids, right? When you're running away from the cops, right, normal one, skinny one, just straight line, fast as you can. Get ready to do a little sidestep. Some of them can be shifty when they go in for the tackle. When there's a fat cop around, though, they're not even going to give chase. They're going straight to plan B, sitting on the hip there, just pointing in the general direction of noise and kablam. See what happens, sort that out with some paperwork later on. So when there's a fat cop around, kids, just be prepared to do some zigzag running. You're going to look like a silly Billy. But it's better to be a silly Billy and alive than one of those corpses about whom people say there lies a man who never compromised his dignity around obese law enforcement. So this fight, right, it was just winding down. It was just coming to the end of it. And I was getting shoveled in the back of a paddy wagon by some of these goons. And one of them, right, he had his elbow on the back of my neck. He was about half my age. He's put me in the van. He said, "Mate, we're going to take you down the station. We're going to charge you with common assault. You should take a long, hard look at yourself. So should I, young fella? Maybe you should take a long, hard look at yourself, because I've just bitten a man's nose off. and then I punched him out of his shoes. And you've got the audacity to call that common. So they're all right at this sort of stuff, right? Your entry-level policing. But when it comes, from listening to podcasts, when it comes to solving a murder, the pigs are fucking useless. They cannot do the job. There must be a lot of retired policemen up there in Queensland, the retirement location of choice for all inept policemen. Just sitting there on the Sunshine Coast, just dragging the drinks trolley over to their cane lounger, thinking, oh shit, I hope I die before all the unturned stones of my shit career get catalogued for the whole world to see in a podcast. And all that sunshine and beer, that does nothing for a man's memory. The rapid onset of dementia is staggering when a tenacious podcaster knocks on the door. The number one leading cause of dementia in old men is, of course, being accused of some pervert shit from 40 years ago. They can't remember a fucking thing once that got us. And while I'm down here too, I don't want to rip into dementia. I'm not sinking the slipper in there, that's fine. Like, it's one of those things, dementia, that we'll all have to deal with at one stage of our lives. Someone we know will have it, or we will whatever. But what no one's saying about dementia is how much of a handy evolutionary tool it is just to prevent old men from going out and settling all their long-standing vendettas. And can you imagine a world where all the men remembered every single shit thing that had been done to them throughout the course of their lives? It'd be absolute carnage when they reach a point where nothing else matters. There'd be so much, hey, Dale, just put a bag of lime and a shovel in the boot. Just off to knock off all three of our sons-in-law. I hate their guts. None of them are good enough for our girls. And while I'm at it, I'm going to rub out that bloke who put 13 items through on the 12 and under aisle 25 years ago. I still remember that. Paid with a cheque. Really pissed me off. Where are the car keys? What was I talking about? I better just go and watch some telly. Dementia saves a lot of lives. Take it easy on them. So when I'm listening to podcasts, right, okay, it gets to a point where the crime ones, they'll say, oh, the family, they were desperate after a year. They didn't know what else to do, so they turned to a psychic for help. And I listen to that and think, what? What were you thinking, man? You've waited a year for that. What a kick in the teeth that is to the science of clairvoyance. Everybody knows the moment somebody goes missing, you look at the horoscopes from that day and work backwards from there. It's almost as if these husbands and stepsons don't want the crime solved in the first place. But that's how crimes are getting solved now. It's pretty much by podcasters more than the police. Someone I know got murdered, right, not by me. And I didn't even call the police. I just found my nearest dork and just yanked him out from underneath his Darth Vader doona, which are incidentally now available in King Single for your larger single man. I just bought him a new computer and a microphone, told him to stop hitting himself and start a podcast and fucking sort it out. And that's how look, the filth, they're just sitting down at the station listening to podcasts hoping a clue pops up. We're supposed to respect them.
I still get, when I fly, which is rare these days, I still get the random search, right? Which is obviously drug-related at my age. Now, for example, fairly recently I went to South Africa to do the Cape Town Comedy Festival. Very privileged. Only white acts on. It was absolutely a brilliant experience. Although I have to say, a little bit tricky for me going to South Africa. And you can laugh at me rather than with me on this one, because I am still boycotting South African products because of apartheid. I bet there's people in there that don't even know what apartheid is. It was that long ago. And I think what it is I'm one of these people that hold on to my political grudges. I think a lot of old people do that. No matter how outdated or unfashionable they become, you're still there, that's who I am, that's what I believe in. And my kids laugh at me, and I get that. But I think what's happened is I've turned into a modern version of my granddad, and I'm sure some of you remember this generation of British boycotters. He refused to buy Japanese stuff because of what happened to our lads during the war. And we laughed at him. But he kept it up till the day he died, which was in the late 1970s, which meant he had fuck all in his house. No fridge, no radio, no television. I I doubt he even had the means to know the war had ended, the silly old sod. And here I am doing exactly the same thing. But you know, when you're white in English, how far back do you go with this stuff? What? Croissants after 1066? No, I'm not going to IKEA till the Vikings say they're fucking sorry. So I got the random search twice. That's not random, is it? You get it on the way there, you get it on the way back. That's not fucking random. And it's very difficult when you're older. You know, be prepared for this. People on authority, they're all younger than you. You can't even take them seriously. He's pulled me over. I have to go through the process. I've done it so many times. And he looked at me and he went, "Did you know, sir, that it's illegal to bring drugs and firearms into the country?" Who in here doesn't fucking know that, right? I thought, why is he speaking to me like I'm a bit of a fucking imbecile? So I went, "Fucking hell! It's illegal now, is it? This must be the Brexit thing kicking in. I think you should put a sign up for something as important as that. Now you fucked up all me gift ideas." Then he brought out the drug sniffer dog. Now, I've never been sniffed up by a drug sniffer dog in my life, given my previous lifestyle. Comes as a bit of surprise. So I thought, oh, this is going to be good. And immediately, I looked at the dog and I thought, wow, when I was younger, and maybe got up to a little bit of mischief, I always thought if ever I was going to get nicked by a dog, it'd be a German Shepherd. There's no shame in that, is there? Cocker fucking spaniel. How humiliating would that be to be nicked by your nan's dog, basically? But then I had a brainwave. I thought, hold on a minute. Drug sniffer dog, what a great pet that would make. You'd never lose your drugs ever again. And you'd always know where to buy drugs. Just take your dog for a walk. Although on a sadder note, when they finish their careers and end up in Battersea Dogs Home, you think, well, the other dogs in there treat them like grasses and nonces in the nick because they work for the old bill, don't they? Hey, the fucking Rottweilers want to see you later, mate, all right? I was just going to say my drug of choice has changed, but now it's a drug of necessity. Painkillers. I don't know if I'm the only one. Most people I know that are over 50, certainly over 60, are on painkillers now because they're suffering from what my doctor calls, and I've got to tell you, this pisses me off, wear and tear. Wear and tear. It's a bit generic, isn't it? I want something with a Latin name, don't you? I said, can we call it wearers tearers? It sounds more serious, isn't it? So I wake up in the morning with me wearers tearers, as I'm sure one or two of you do, and I found a cup of coffee, a couple of painkillers, just takes the edge off the day. But it's actually harder to get painkillers than cocaine. What kind of world are we living in? Cocaine, 30 minutes on the phone. Painkillers, they ask you lots of questions before they hand it over, don't they? You wouldn't get a cocaine dealer doing that, would you? Are you on any other medication? Hey. When they do that in chemists now, I started going, of course I am. What do you think I am, a fucking lightweight? Do you operate heavy machinery? I went, do I sound like a northerner to you? Yeah, I'm in my lunch break, mate. I've got to get back on the spinning jenny in 5 minutes. I'm from London, we've got fucking computers now. Why are you asking me these questions? And they went, well, here's the thing, so after 3 days of taking these painkillers, you could become addicted. And I thought, who would look at my face and think that bloke needs advice on drugs and firearms? I said, don't worry about me. I must have been part of every youth culture, every drug-related youth culture since the late 1960s. I must have sampled every drug we've all ever heard of. You tell him it's going to be now, then, at my age, after 3 days of taking Nurofen, that's going to be the thing, is it, that finally and eventually pushes me over the fucking edge, put me wife on the game to feed me habits, sell me blonde kids to Romanian gypsies, yeah. It was all going all right, so they brought that Nurofen Plus out. That's what fucked me right up.
Any Chinese people in the crowd? Any Chinese? 中国人吗？你们是中国人吗？你是中国人吗？
I'm from Australia, mate.
Oh, you're from Australia, okay. 我说中文你会听得懂吗？
一点点。
一点点，哇，挺好。那我跟你说中文，你就跟我说中文，没关系。你父母是哪里的？
中国人。
哦，中国人，中国哪里？
上海。
Oh, Shanghai, 哇，挺好，哇。Don't worry, they get uncomfortable. The crowd get uncomfortable because I'm prepared for the future and they are not, so it's difficult. Also, can you please verify that I was actually speaking Chinese? Because I know some people are like, oh my God, I saw the most racist thing yesterday. This white guy was on stage, he was like, any Chinese people? And then he chung-chung-ching this guy at the second table. I was like, fuck, cancel this guy already. Like, oh my God. Cancel him, seriously.
I watched the Harry and Meghan Netflix documentary. Now, I'll be honest with you, before I watched it, I was not a fan of theirs. But now I've actually heard their side of the story, I fucking hate them. They started off and they're making interesting points about racism and misogyny. Then they start calling each other H and M, and I just thought, oh, do fuck off. By the time Harry starts describing this one date with Meghan as the night, let me quote you here, me and M pulled the pin on a fun grenade. I actually started rooting for Prince Andrew. If you haven't seen the documentary, lucky you. Ginger Royal meets fit American actress. She then discovers that everything is so unfair. He then discovers that racism is actually a bad thing. And then they moan about everything. Harry says, how do you explain to someone who've just started dating that they have to curtsy to your own grandmother? And I'm thinking, maybe just tell her that your grandmother is the fucking queen. And you're in the royal family. I don't know how to break this to you, H. But if you weren't in the royal family, M wouldn't be with you. They were complaining they had to pay for their own security. They were not happy about that. Yeah, they were very worried about their safety, which I get that aspect of things. After 6 episodes, I wanted to attack them. Something about them. I don't know what it is. I look at them. I genuinely think they are the sort of couple who look at each other when they're having sex. These are sick people.
Let it be known, I have to say, I am not anti-Semitic. I'm like the most Semitic. I love them. I won't go to the Holocaust Museum, though. Nope. I'll explain. It's not like I'm just going to move on to the next joke. He let that one hang out there for a while. No, I don't want to go to the Holocaust Museum because I am a coward. That's it. That's as simple. It happened, all right? That's not the route I'm going with this. It happened, I know it happened, and it was bad. Real bad. Like the worst. And I know that, and I'm too scared to deal with the emotions that would come with visiting a Holocaust museum. Like, that's a big day. That's wow, you don't want to do anything else? Okay. And shit, maybe I'm wrong. Does anybody here want to go to the Holocaust Museum? Okay, all right, okay. And anybody who says yes, it's always in theory. It's never like, okay, tomorrow. They're like, oh, I didn't know tomorrow. It's like, I have plans, but let's put it on a calendar and think about doing the right thing. No, we're all cowards, and that's okay. Glad the Holocaust Museum is there. It's there for education, and that's how the majority of people that go to the Holocaust Museum, they are field trips, which I find a tad ironic. That just somebody's like, oh, we got this Holocaust Museum. How are we going to get people in there? We could transport them in against their will. It's like, whoa, hey. Has our marketing guy even been inside yet? Because that's like a main thing that happened. You can't just look at the pictures. You got to read the captions. They didn't just love trains, man. That one's a bit too far. That one went.
I just prefer areas where there's fewer guns. I think you get more fun tough guys there. I went to London, England. And in London, they have no guns. And anyone there could be a tough guy. You could get your ass kicked by a guy with an umbrella and a bowler hat. It might happen. I was there with 8 other Americans. We were there for a work trip. And at the end of the week, to celebrate, we went on a pub crawl. And towards the end of the pub crawl, this tiny little, very drunk British guy had latched onto our group. And at first it was fun, but towards the end of the night, it was clear that he wasn't really picking up on any verbal cues, and he wouldn't stop hassling a couple of the women we were with. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go talk to him. I'll let him know his night's over. I'm a big guy. There's 9 of us. I'll handle it. So I walked over to him and I looked down. And I said, hey, buddy, I think you've had enough to drink. I think it might be time for you to go home. And he looked up at me and he said, oi, what's that, Porky? I think it's time for you to kiss my ass. And it hurt, because I'd never been cussed at in that accent before. I was like, oh, that's how Paddington talks. But I collected myself, right? I was like, I don't think you heard me. I said it's time for you to go home. And he said, I don't think you heard me. It's time for you to kiss my ass. And that gave me pause. I was like, why is this guy so confident? I know he doesn't have a gun, but is Harry Potter real? Is magic real? Do they still have swords over here? Maybe I misread the situation. Maybe this guy about to pull a sword on me, right? I don't have a sword. And I didn't want to fight anyway, so I was like, hey, buddy, we're not looking for trouble. And he cut me off. He said, oh, you found trouble, mate. It's here, it's so cool. For a second, I was like, oh, someone's gonna get their ass kicked. Oh, no, it's me. I'm the one. And then he said, right, I'll sort out all 9 of you then. And he took his hand and he reached it into the waistband of his pants. And when he did that, my heart caught in my throat. Because I'm an American. When someone does that here, it means they have a gun. And you've misread the situation drastically. And I thought it was very scary. Also, I thought it was a little bit funny. Even in that moment. Because I was like, you're gonna get shot in London? Flying all the way over here? We make the finest artisanal gun violence in the world back home. This is like a French guy trying champagne for the first time in Madison, Wisconsin. What's going on? But I was terrified. And you learn who you are in those moments. And I was not happy to find out who I am, because I looked around at my friends and I swear to God, I thought, boy, I hope he shoots one of them first. That's what I thought, because it's still England. Once he gets one shot off, it's gonna like take him a while to reload. Like. But then, he pulled his hand out of his pants. And he was not holding a gun, but he was holding. And I need you to know that sometimes comedians make stuff up, but this is 100% true. He pulled out a completely full pint of beer. And he'd been moving around. He was active. Not a drop spilled. There's not information I'm not sharing with you, okay? He pulled, maybe his penis is like a monkey tail. He can hold stuff with it. I don't know. But he was holding this beer and he said, shall we? And then he drank the entire thing in one gulp, took the glass and threw it against the wall of the pub, and then started walking towards me and my friends like this. And the 9 of us took off in 9 different directions so fast. It was like he pulled a machine gun. And that's the kind of tough guy we don't have enough of in this country.
I'll tell you a bit about myself. to get us acquainted, I think of myself as a self-made man. That's my thing, right? By that I mean I left home at 18 with nothing but the shirt on my back and every conceivable privilege. Still got them. White, male, middle class, and if they invent any more, I dare say I shall have them too. I'm very lucky. I own a house. You can't... Thank you. Yeah, it's hard saying that to people in their 20s. You can watch their dreams die in real time. It's not fair. I say I own a house. My wife owns a house. I own a wife. So that's good. Lived in London, the sprawling metropolis that is London, for the last 15 years. And then 5 years ago, I moved to the hipster capital of Britain, Bristol, as the result of losing an argument about starting a family. I left the city I love to be with the woman I like. And she hates that joke, and she's absolutely right to. We now live in Bristol, up a hill, in a creative community full of wankers. It's not a gated community. It is quite a steep hill. And everyone, if you like that, you're going to enjoy the rest of the show. This is going to be fun. Let's relax. Everyone, when I say it's creative, it's like everyone on our street has an arty job, right? So we've got comedian, we've got a DJ, a videographer, a dancer, a musician, and one architect to give the rest of us a sense of perspective. Like, sure you're artistic, but if you tried. And I've got to tell you, the area is gentrifying really nicely in a way that I am absolutely responsible for. When I first moved there, brunch on a Sunday was £8. Now it's £13.50. You're welcome. That's me. I did that. And if anything, it's too comfortable. It's a really comfortable place to live. So I'll give an example. We take the children, local kids, we take them on... my own children. I've said local kids there as if we're some sort of Pied Piper couple. And we're like, come, children, let's go on a walk. No, not at all. We have two fabulous children. Lovely, lovely little boy, and the girl one's good too. And we... I've known him longer. We go on walks and we go to the forest, right? The forest is technically a cemetery, but there's no point getting into that at this stage. And what we've noticed is such is the nature of our groovy, creative community that someone from the community has been sneaking into the forest and nailing lots of little 4-inch high doors to the bases of the tree trunks. Have you seen anything like this? Little fairy doors, right? You've seen them. So it's all twee and it's all sweet and the children come along and have an important cultural experience and go, oh, this must be where the fairies live. Not my son. My son's like, well, they're out, but there we are. And that's why they do it. But the problem is, we're such a bunch of wankers that all of the couples have gone home and go, have you seen it? Have you seen the forest? I can't whittle. I can't carve. How will we contribute? And so what they've done is everyone's gone back and added little embellishments. They've put little accoutrement in the... That's a fun word, isn't it? Accoutrement. They've put like a little rocking chair in the front garden. Someone's cut up a doormat into inch squares and put little fairy doormats for the fairies to wipe their little booties on. Someone's got a lolly stick and 2 bits of string and made a little swing on a nearby branch. It's twee as hell, and it's my duty to disrupt it. So what I've done is I went to a doll's house furniture shop and bought a load of white goods, like fridge freezers, microwave ovens, and I just left them outside in the fairies' front gardens to rust. Get a Scalextric car, set fire to it, leave it smoking on its edge outside. Bring the area into disrepute, some miniature police tape here, some tiny crack pipes there. And what I did last night, I snuck in, I put a tiny white tent in one of the front gardens. Yeah, so it looks like there's been a murder. Take my son through it earlier today. Yeah, I think the cat got him. Ooh, nasty. It's not true, of course. I haven't done that. What I've done is I've decided to take it far too far in the opposite direction. So what I've done is I got on Etsy.com and I bought a job lot of about 200 of these fairy doors. And night after night, I've been sneaking in, adding more and more fairy doors, right? More doors, everywhere you can look, every inch plastered with doors, up trees, up branches, doors, 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 until the area is completely oversubscribed, right? Doors everywhere. And so many doors, eventually the fairies, they're going to need somewhere to get their coffee, aren't they? So a little artisanal coffee shop there, maybe a vegan upholsterer's over here. Doors, 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 doors. And then at the very end, what I'm going to do tomorrow is sneak in with an armful of tiny little estate agent signs, start sticking them everywhere, as all of the local fairies are priced out of the area by these fluttering iridescent wankers from London. That's the plan. That's the plan.
Recently moved into a 2-bedroom flat. Share it with 45 strangers. Give us a cheer if you are a homeowner. Woo, yeah, nice, yeah. Put your hand up, why not? You've already won, lad. Put two up, go on. His life's just a roller coaster going up. Nice one, Shagger. I'm so happy for you. Nice. You like cooking in the house that you own? Yeah, of course you do. All that space. So much space they've got to put an island in the middle of that kitchen. God forbid. They've got to swim from one length of the room to the other to get their cutlery. Now let's get a mass of land, catch our breath, see where we're at. You like listening to music when you cook, don't you, homeowners? I know that. I've seen you. Yeah. Something smug like Six Music. Tapping away on your pots and pans. Le Creuset, is it? Oh, my kettle matches my toaster. I'll kill you. I told you that already. I'm going to wear your skin. My face is going to match your face, but... Sorry, I won't kill him after the show. Well, I've never killed anyone. Just that we can't cook on our own in a house share, can we? I've never cooked alone in my entire life. God knows I try. I get in there about 2 o'clock in the morning. Find the non-stick pan with the most non-stick left on top of it. Wipe away the dust of the previous meal. As soon as I light that hob, all my housemates come out of the woodwork. All of us cooking at the same time. We look like a DJ crew. Why are we cooking at the same time? We own one spatula. The housemate's doing the pasta with a bread knife. All right, yeah. Explains what happens to all the non-stick then, doesn't it? Now I've got a non-stick bread knife. Which is a shame, because I want to stick it in your throat. Pour everything through the one sieve. Fight over the one dinner plate. Miss out on that, you're eating out of a stolen Beavertown glass. Gotta get your Huel somehow, haven't you? Got some Huel boys in tonight? Yeah! Of course they are, look at that. Listen to that boy! He doesn't have time to chew, he's too busy talking over women. You got the Huel t-shirt?
Oh yeah, big time. Left it at home.
You left it at home, such a shame. What kind of man is wearing a Huel t-shirt? You know the way like venomous animals are brightly coloured? It's nature's way of telling you that man's a predator. Huel regret giving him your number. No, but it's Do you know what we do in a house share when we finish cooking? You might not remember this, homeowners. When we finish cooking, we all go to our bedrooms. And we eat alone. Like prisoners. Not regular prisoners, no. They're socialising. They're in the canteen, those boys, no. No, we are the sex offenders wing. We are household full of nonces. Eating scrambled eggs in bed. Police found a terabyte of Jamie Oliver recipes. I thought they were 18-minute meals. Yeah, there will be jokes, piggies. You just got to sniff them out. You really do. Not only do we cook at the same time, one of my housemates has started stealing my food. Terrible, isn't it? David is the man's name. Hated him the moment I met him. Describes himself as a slow burner, which is how I'd kill him, let me tell you. The reason he steals my food is because he grew up in a commune. You know, so like he was, like raised, like incorrectly. Takes a village. No, it takes 1 or 2 parents, you know? So stealing is just part of his culture. But it's not part of mine, despite being from the north. So I confronted him about it. I said, David, lad, someone's been eating all of my risotto. Yeah, we've got that in the north. I said, someone's been eating my risotto, and he said, don't you mean our risotto? So I coughed in our mouth. Share and share alike, Shagger. Been through a lot together, me and David. He caught COVID just after me. Weird how the world works sometimes, isn't it? Trying to enjoy the flat share, because, you know, despite the injustice, that's the worst thing, don't you think? The injustice of the property market?
Yeah, I agree.
Just for those at the back, this man does not have a gun to his head. Absolutely. I've never voted Tory in my entire life. What do you do for a living?
I work for an insurance company.
One of the good guys! I hate the injustice of it all. We found out recently our landlady owns 8 houses. I know! Isn't that terrible to think if she was a landlord, she'd own 12? How many ceilings must she own before she can break through the glass ones? Oh. Trying to get a fundraiser going for the old girl. I've raised 600 quid by leaving a bit of blue tack on the wall. It's all you can do. But I am trying to enjoy it, but I don't work in insurance, so, you know, I realise I'll live there for a long time. Because I do this. In one of the most expensive cities in the world. I've done the maths. I'll probably die in that flat share. Sounds depressing, doesn't it? But it's not. I'm looking forward to them lot cleaning up after me. And they'll be bitching about it on the WhatsApp group. Excuse me, guys. I'm not sure who left the corpse in the living room. I'm gonna buy a gun, shoot myself, and put it on Splitwise. I swear to God! Why do we have WhatsApp groups with the people we live with? Do you know what I mean? Like, the house is the group. We don't need to text. Walls are so thin, every time I sneeze, I hear someone typing out "bless you" in the next room. Thin walls in our flat. So believe you me, the winters are freezing. We don't turn on the heating because we don't want each other to be happy. Luckily for me, I've got a Lenovo laptop from 2012. So. 3 tabs on Google Chrome, my neighbours are sweating. I open Zoom, the whole street's on holiday. Bloody hell! Tenerife is a calling.
Yeah, I was on that airline Emirates. Yeah. And the seats recline the most furthest. Yeah, you didn't know that, but yeah. They have, like, a rich cornucopia of entrees, a veritable tapestry of mains, and a wide variety of desserts. Some of the widest selection of options on any modern aeronautical vessel. But when it comes to Emirates, the airline, your freedom drops dramatically when you land in the country. Like, the sky-to-land ratio of freedom plummets dramatically when you land in Emirates. It's Shiraz in the sky, Sharia in Dubai. That's a bit of a limerick for the Irish people in the crowd. Jetstar's the opposite. They're trying to weigh your bag. You're hiding behind a pillar like Anne Frank. Because your bag's a kilo over, you only got $7 left. You try and take Pringles off the tray, she's trying to cut your fucking hand off, you piece of shit. But then you land and you can shoplift and it's fine, so that's cool. That's what we'd like to see, and that'd be nice. God damn it. Nasty. Oh, guys. Imagine if there was a fantasy portal from another world and an elf came through right now. You'd be like, you don't belong in this realm. This is a clear realm violation. If an orc came through, you'd be like, I just saw your colleague from the Enchanted Forest, the elf. What's going on here? This is unbelievable. This bit goes for 7 hours, by the way, so it's going to make Lord of the Rings look like a fucking TikTok. But yeah, I hope you're familiar with folklore, but imagine if there was a fantasy portal and a dwarf came through. You'd be like, yeah, we've already got you. Visiting or returning, like you'd have to check, you know, like customs, like Form 2Qs, like you're a resident or you're a tourist, you know, we've got to... Fantasy authors are crazy. It's the only mythological character that's just a regular dude. Like a dwarf in Narnia is a dwarf in Redfern. There's no difference. Do you think a wizard's ever hanging out with a dwarf? They're just looking at a crystal ball. He's like, yeah, you know there's a parallel universe where you can get the disability pension? I mean, you don't have to slay dragons for gold. They'll just give it to you. So, like, you can teleport, baby. But my parents, they're always trying to get me to go to, like, Othello, King Lear, Hamlet. And I'm like, no, I'm good at it. I can just get the train and see some meth head have the most hectic conversation on loudspeaker of just Shakespearean levels of paranoia and drama. You tried to poison me, you dog. I trusted you and you turned your back on me just as I was down. He's holding a skull, reminds me of my dad. It's a possum skull from an electrical incident, but it's the same vibe. He's with one of the witches from Macbeth, just whispering shit in his ear, getting him all riled up. He did betray you, stab him. Instead of a cauldron, she's got a Yui boom, just blasting Skrillex on the quiet carriage, making everyone uncomfortable. Don't you worry, child. There's a guy headbutting a payphone. Why have you forsaken me? They should tap all payphones, record all the conversations and release it as an audio book called Macmeth. Then maybe I could get some REM sleep. I haven't slept for 4 years. That's why this is happening. They come up to you out of the street, these characters. Slings and arrows of misfortune, nangs and darries cost a fortune. Meth heads are like bridge trolls because they speak in riddles and block your path. And if you don't solve them, you get hepatitis. They're like, you, me and 3 hobgoblins stole Mr. Magoo's wand, yes? And you're trying to calculate the best response that's going to minimise the situation. You're like, maybe if I participate in his version of reality, he'll appreciate that and let me pass into the gentrified zone. So I can go to Fishbowl. You're like, yeah, I remember. He's like, wrong, motherfucker. God damn it. I dropped acid before this and I'm still trying to find it, and people offer me acid oil. I'm like, I'm already tripping. You don't bring paprika to Sandeep's Curry Hut. It's spicy enough. Man, we glorify serial killers now. Eh? There's no segues here. You know, like remember Ted Bundy? They got Zac Efron to play him. That's not right. Serial killing's the only crime where you get a glow up. When I got caught stealing a Yabby pump from Aldi, they just released the CCTV footage. They didn't hire Chris Hemsworth to reenact it. And now they go into the origin story of these sick puppies. You know, they go right back on the backstory. They're like, yeah, he had a weird relationship with a frog when he was 6. So you start empathising with them. You're like, yeah, I get it, brother. If I had a weird relationship with a frog when I was 6, I'd also store my co-worker's torso in a barrel of acid and dissolve it. Jeffrey Dahmer's got a better chance of redemption than Ellen DeGeneres. That's the problem with Ellen. She didn't go far enough. She stopped her bullying. She should have cut him up into tiny pieces. Then people would visit her in prison and watch her dance through the plexiglass, just with the sticker-skewered heads swiveling around like a kebab spit. That's Ellen, my Ellen, baby. I love you. You're a monster. You're my monster. Voldemort's got a better chance of a comeback than the woman who created him. She who must not be named. Because I think it's better to dismember than misgender. You can't microdose evil, you've got to double drop. If you make a faux pas at a party, just eat everyone there. Because then they'll make a documentary about it. They'll be like, he was hangry. I don't know what noise that was, but I feel like a farmer whose animals are turning against him, but... Remember that movie? But you know President Zelensky? I love this guy. I'd love to have a fling with Zeleng. Because of the way he looks. My friends call me Pinocchio because the more I lie about being gay, the harder my dick gets. I'm like, I like pussy, boy. That was as hard to do as it was to listen to. That's a free trade agreement. But he's at peak hero, Zelensky. Like, it can only go down from there. One mistake. You know, when you're at peak hero, like, he'll be rude to a waiter. Someone will film it, it'll be like, bye-bye, Zelensky, bye now. Meanwhile, Putin will get diagnosed with ADHD, and we'll be like, that's why he did it, I guess. One of the symptoms is an ex in Crimea now he'll release a book, Mein Kampf, My Struggle with Focus. How I conquered the Ukraine and my ADHD. It'll be a... I'm still trying to work out who the coward is in the coward punch thing. Because on the one hand, you've got a guy who's willing to risk it all. His reputation, a prison sentence, a job at Nando's, probably. All just to hit a stranger for absolutely no reason. And on the other hand, you've got a guy who dies from one punch. What a pussy. You know, like... Who's the coward in this situation? The guy who achieved what Mike Tyson couldn't? Or Humpty Dumpty head slumped on the sidewalk like a rag doll? I prefer when it was called a king hit, because it takes a king of a bloke to down another with one foul swoop. More like the brave cunt special punch, but yeah, I don't work in marketing, you're a consultant, let's make it happen.
We should probably talk about mental health, yeah. Somebody's got to. I got it up to the eyeballs. I had a breakdown recently. I had to take myself to the doctor. I was like, Doc, you've got to help me, you know. It's getting too much. I can't tell the difference between Channel 4+1 and Channel 5 anymore. You've got to do something. She gave me the once-over and she goes, you've got OCD. It's giving OCD is what she said. Do you know about OCD? OCD, if you don't know, it's when you sort of like tidy up too much because you think it'll make your dad come home. Okay, couple of hands to foreheads for that gag. I'm afraid if that's your threshold for upset, you're in for an extremely fucking tedious hour. You don't have to worry about it though. That was all right. That was just a joke about my dad. My dad was around when I was a kid. I just only got to see him on weekends. My parents weren't split up. I was just busy. The doctor also told me I got something called body dysmorphia, which is when you're like fit but humble about it. And it's kind of an awesome mental illness to have. So all the other mental illnesses are like, yeah, I've got voices in my head, I can't tell the difference between what's real and what isn't. My mental illness is that I can't comprehend how gorgeous I truly am. It's a pretty nice one to have. It's my amygdala, did you know that? That's what it is. It's my amygdala, that's why... You know the amygdala? Yeah, well, it's right next door to the hippocampus. Best mates. Well, the amygdala, it's the slice of your brain that processes complex emotions, right? And they did a scan of loads of people like me, and everyone's amygdala's too big, and they think that's why we're like that. Which is strange to me, because it's the bit that does emotion. So you'd think it would be good if it was a bit big, but apparently it's a catastrophe. It's like, you hear about those people whose tits are so big that they have a bad back. That's what's going on in my head. The love and punchlines bit of my brain is so fucking chesty that the suicide prevention bit has scoliosis. I'm a danger to myself and others because of my busty little minx of a brain. Sometimes, if you ever do material about mental illness or whatever, sometimes people come up to you after the show and they're like, oh, are you okay, Which is crazy to me. It's like watching a Batman film and going, oh, I hope Gotham's all right. It's not real. It's real, man. And it's going to get increasingly real for you. I've been trying to fix myself. I've been teaching myself therapy speak on Duolingo. I'm not fluent. I know just about enough to gaslight a waiter. They're demanding I pay the bill. I'm staring at my phone going, I don't owe anyone anything. Because the thing is, there's lots of mental health lingo floating around at the moment, and I don't speak it. Everyone's talking about mental health, but it's all in a very superficial way. It's all aphorisms and platitudes and stuff. You know what I'm talking about? Like, it's okay not to be okay. Talk to someone. Everyone's fucking desperate for me to talk to someone until I'm like, can I talk to you? And they're like, fuck off. No, obviously not. I'll genuinely kill you if you try and talk to me. Especially with OCD, because everybody thinks they know what they're in for with OCD. They're like, oh, you're sad because you can't stop washing your hands. Wrong. Every time I get an Uber, my mind is like, you should kiss the driver. Why don't you lean forward and tenderly kiss the Uber driver? Why don't you search his mouth like an anteater? I don't think I want to do that. Yeah. I've got a bright idea. Why don't you flick your lit cigarette into that busker's guitar case? Yeah, could do, yeah. I heard an amazing piece of superficial mental health speak recently. It was amazing. I went to one of those group therapy sessions because if you don't know, if you want to get your mental health, if you want to get mental health treatment on the National Health Service, that's actually not allowed. So what they do if you're in genuine need of therapy is they go into the waiting room and they scoop you all up in a big net and they make you do it in a group. It's kind of like the Actors Round Table for schizophrenics. And I went to one of these group therapy sessions and the guy next to me told us all that he was in suicide recovery. Isn't that amazing? I was like, oh. Famously hard to recover from, I thought. And here I thought that was sort of the whole promise of the thing. Kurt Cobain turning up to band practice 2 days late. Tape all round his head. No, I'm sorry, I'm sort of in recovery now, boys. Sorry about all that. I'm in recovery. I realised I had a fatal addiction to launching my head into space with a gun. And I'm in recovery from that. I'm very interested in that kind of, that instinct to use obscurative language. Here's an example. I was reading my local paper recently and there was an article about a man in my area who died in a car crash. Yeah, sad, I know people who've died in car crashes, but it was quite confusing because the article didn't say that he died in the car crash. It said he passed away in the car crash. That can't be true. So that's a misprint or maybe journalistic malpractice. I couldn't imagine a world where this guy had passed away in a car crash. As if he paused the car crash, lived a full and fruitful life, and then resumed it when he was at peace with the idea of being sent to the moon by a lorry. You remember that little submarine? None of them passed away, did they? You don't gently relinquish your hold on this mortal coil when your body is turned into a red cloud at the speed of light. There wasn't a quote from his widow that was like, yeah, my husband has passed away peacefully, surrounded by family, after a brief battle with a car. But I understand the importance of language like that, you know, the function of it. It's important to lie to yourself sometimes. I do it all the time, especially with regards to my health, you know. I'll have 15 pints a night for 8 months in a row and then be like, I think I have long COVID. Something's going on with me, you know. I'm cutting about going, yeah, I think the reason I am how I am is because nobody ever taught me how to put myself first. And it's like, no, the vapes are full of lead. That's why. I'm like, actually, my brain holds too many emotions. No, I've been taking 1,000 puffs on a lead-filled pipe every day for 10 years. A lead pipe. I've been smoking the shit that killed Colonel Mustard. 10 years, and that's why I'm like wondering why I'm fucking mentally ill. Hey, speaking of psychosis, have you ever noticed how the plots of all the Disney Pixar movies are very similar to textbook psychosis delusions? I reckon they got a guy in the Pixar writer's room who's fucking tapped in the head, but he can't quit because his ideas for kids' films are all bangers. Like, they're all in the canteen having some lunch, throwing ideas around. It's all dog shit, but they get to him and he's like, oh, I can't eat this meal. I think a rat cooked this. Say that again. Coming into the office all sad. Yeah, I think my wife's cheating on me with a bee. I'm thinking of, you know, everyone says that you've got to like upskill, like learn to code or something. I'm thinking of reskilling as a guide dog. Mainly for the uniform. You've seen those sexy little vests they got? Those slutty little harnesses they make guide dogs wear. I'd love one of those. You'd respect me if I was wearing one of those. An outfit that says, I'd love to stop and sniff your ass, but I'm on the job. I'm dedicated to my work. God, I'd be such a brilliant guide dog, you know. I'd be chatty like a cab driver. That would be like my thing. You know, like, it hooks me up to the lead, and I'm like, all right, boss, where are we going today? Don't worry, I'll be your eyes and ears. He's like, just eyes is fine. I love seeing a guide dog, because they're the embodiment of, like, dutiful solemnity. Do you know what I mean? They stick by their person through thick and thin. Other dogs, they try and distract them, play with them, have fun. Guide dogs not having it. Have you seen this? Other dogs do to guide dogs what we do to the guards outside Buckingham Palace. But they're like that. They're not having it. Do you not think it's a bit heartbreaking sometimes when you see a guide dog? Because what? They're like a Labrador or a Golden Retriever or something. That's what they are, right? Famously like the happiest looking dog. But a guide dog's got such a straight face. You're like, wow, you must take your job really seriously. Do you know what I mean? I understand it, because it's a hard job to have for a dog. It's a tough life being a guide dog. Your owner has the best stick in the world, but it's the one stick they're never going to throw. Imagine you're a dog and your owner has that stick and they never throw it. You'd be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? That's why they look so serious. Every day they wake up straight in their vest, look in the mirror and go, today's the day that thing goes flying. You believe it. I think mental health care has really gone downhill since the 1800s. Do you know what I mean? They used to put you in a big soft hotel with all your friends. Now you have to have like an emotional support animal, like a therapy pet, which is rubbish. It sucks. It's like, oh, you're suicidal. Would it help if we let you take a dog on the plane? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I can't get myself out of bed in the mornings, but I'll try getting a dog through airport security. See if that helps somehow. But then experience in this magical world, it kills the cynic in all of us eventually, doesn't it? Well, I'm saying that I got one of like a therapy pet and it changed my life. I got a therapy ant. That's right, I'm an ant mum. And but the government, they're going to take my ant away because the breed I have, it's called an American Ant XL. Size of this cunt, you would not believe. 8 seats he takes up on the plane. And the government, they're going to confiscate my ant because they say that my breed of ant is responsible for over 90% of cases of toddlers being stolen from a picnic. Can you believe that? Not my Brutus. You just have to get to know him. Like foaming at the mandibles.
We have our own language in this country that confuses a lot of the world. Do you know, in America, they do not sing hip hip hooray at the end of Happy Birthday. Did you know we were the only people who did that? Do you know how fucking embarrassing it is? I was at a table of people I didn't even know that well, and they finish Happy Birthday, and I just go, hip hip! And it's just silence, and they're all just staring at me, and I'm like, oh, that doesn't usually fucking happen. And one of them goes, what'd you do that for? And I went, oh, in Australia, one person yells out hip hip and then everyone yells hooray, and we do that 3 times. And they went, why do you do that? And I went, I don't fucking know. I didn't know you weren't meant to do it. It's always been there. It's really weird when it's not there. They just finish Happy Birthday and go, Happy Birthday to you. So you can't help yourself, can you? You needed to. You needed to get it out of your system. You do, don't you? We need to, all right? Hip hip! Hip hip! Hip hip! That's fucking insane to the rest of the world. The rest of the world, that is a weird, strange thing to do. Happy Birthday goes for 45 minutes in Australia. We do the hip hips and then someone goes, why was he born so beautiful? Hey, don't cut the cake, I'm not done singing. I've got a whole number prepared. What about, That's a good laugh. What about this one, right? In America, they don't have Christmas bonbons. I know, how's the genuine disappointment in you? Like, oh, is it even Christmas without the bonbons? Now, what that means is they don't have Christmas hats. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. So I brought my American girlfriend, now wife, over for her first Australian Christmas. Imagine what she must have thought. Having never seen this tradition before in her life, and no one says anything about it. Everyone just quietly puts on their paper crowns and starts eating. She's just sitting there, just looking around the table going, what the fuck is wrong with these people? They're all wearing multicoloured paper mache crowns. There's always someone who won't put their hat on and everyone cracks the shits at them. Everyone's like, put your hat on, Gary. It's Christmas. We're all doing it. Come on. Put your fucking hat on, Gary. No, I'm serious. You're embarrassing the American girl. Put your fucking hat on. Read me the joke, Gary. I want to hear the joke. That's shit. I heard that last year. Put your fucking hat on, Gary. What about the person who leaves their hat on too long and they just look insane? You're like, Grandpa, you've got to take your hat off. It's fucking February, mate. We're going to put you away. I was in Mammoth Mountain in California. Now, you guys will know exactly what I said when you hear what this person said to me. But there was all these people crowded around this cave area. And I said to this guy, I said, oh, what's going on in there? And he looked at me and said, oh, there's a bear in there. Now, you know exactly what I said. I looked at this guy right in the face. I'm a grown man, and I went, and a chair as well. And he looked at me like I was a lunatic. Like, what kind of shit detective does he think I am? I'm there, oh, there's a bear in there? Right. Is there a chair as well? I've seen this before. There's most likely people with games and stories to tell. Open wide. Come inside. It's play school. So the rest of the world call those orange traffic cones, okay? But we call them witches' hats. Which is ridiculous when you think about it. We've just decided, well, that looks like the hat of a witch. So let's, like our construction workers, big tough construction workers, ordering fucking all sorts of things, and then can we get a dozen witches' hats over here? And in America they call it a weed whacker, we call it a whippersnipper. And that grass that's along the sidewalk, the footpath, we call that a nature strip. The rest of the world just calls that grass. So I said this to my American friend. He saved a parking spot for me out the front of his house. And he said, oh, did you park out the front? And I said, oh, no, there was a witch's hat next to a whippersnip on the nature strip, so I parked down the road. What the fuck does that mean? What kind of weird Harry Potter shit am I talking about to this guy? There's a witch's hat on the nature strip, so I parked down at the Gryffindor. I can't say certain things in America anymore because people just look at me with absolute shock and horror. Car park, all right? We don't pronounce the R's, we don't have time. It's car park. You don't even finish the last word, it's just park. Car park. I ran into a hotel and to the guy behind the desk, I was in a rush and I just went to him and I went, car park! Fucking car park! And he just stared at me. He had every right to stare at me. I sounded like I ran in off the street making bird noises at him. Like I just went, ah! Fucking ah! Come on! Americans don't understand the glory of winning the meat tray. You guys know what I'm talking about. For those from overseas, if you don't know, go down to the RSL, everyone gets a ticket, and at the end of the night, someone gets their ticket drawn out, and you win the meat tray, and you go home a fucking legend. And you tell everyone for 2 weeks, so I won the meat tray, so, you know, doing all right. I said that to some Americans, and they said, oh, so like cold cut meats, like deli meat, like ham and turkey? And I'm like, oh, no, it's raw sausages and steaks and just minced meat and then just half an onion for some reason and a tiny bit of parsley to make it look like it's fresh when it's not fresh at all. And then he goes, so you take that home and you barbecue it up. You get all your friends around and have a big barbecue. I'm like, no, you're missing the point completely, okay? You don't eat the meat off the meat tray, all right? You get pissed and you leave it in the back of a taxi. You don't fucking... No one eats the meat off the meat tray. What are you, insane? It's about the glory, don't you understand? What about the term piss farting around? That's my favourite one. I said that to some Americans. I said, stop piss farting around. They went, what's piss farting? I went, oh, I don't know. I've never been inquired about that before. I'm not sure its origins or where that's come from. What about explaining to people that yeah, nah means no, and nah, yeah means yes. And you can say yeah, nah, yeah, and it kind of makes sense. You can change your mind mid-sentence. And everyone's like, all right, it ended in the yeah, that means yes. Well, this one, I was chatting to some American friends and they were talking about how they learnt about sexual education. And they're saying, so for one class per week, we would have sexual education in a class environment with the teacher and diagrams, probably the way you should learn about sex. And one of them turns to me and goes, how do they teach you about sex in your country? How do you learn about sex in Australia? And I went, a giraffe in a caravan. Taught me about sex. His name was Harold. He was very informative. Do you know how weird it is to explain that you learn how to have sex from a man fisting a giraffe in a caravan? Life education van, yeah. Is he still around? There was a mixed reaction there. There was a definite no from the back of the room and then a yes. Anyone a teacher? Can they? There you go. That was a teacher's response too. Yes. Monty Franklin. You know how teachers use your full name? Bastards. I have a foreskin. That's what you guys might want to know, no? Is that too much information straight away? In America, they're freaked out by the foreskin. I'm not sure why. Half of the people in this country have a foreskin. Half. Well, that's not true. No, half are female. That's ridiculous. There's very few women with foreskins in this country. But for some reason in America, they're freaked out by it. They're like, no, you got to get rid of that. You got to get rid of it for cleanliness. Got to get rid of it. Tell you what, take a shower. Take a fucking shower. Every day you can take a shower. You don't have to lop part of your penis off. So 25 years down the track, you can save some time by not showering. I can go 3 days without showering, thanks to getting rid of my pesky foreskin. Can I tell you the dumbest thing I've ever done? And I did it 3 weeks ago. I live in San Diego in California, and I went to a yoga class with my wife. Now, I'm no good at yoga. I'm terrible at it. But I also go in there kind of half-assed. I kind of go in there like that a lot. And I said to myself, you're not going to do that this time. You're going to go in there and do the class properly. You're going to listen to the guy. You're going to do all the moves. You're going to do the lion roar. You're going to get into it. You're going to go, rah! You're not going to go, like you usually do because you're scared to participate. You're going to do it. You're going to do the oms. You're going to go properly. You're not going to go and see who else is omming in the room. So I was committed to this class, and the instructor came in. He's a great instructor, but he kept talking about the gaze of your eyes, where you're looking when you're doing the moves. And for 20 minutes, I thought he was talking about the gaze. So I'm doing moves poorly, like not getting it right, and he goes, focus on the gaze. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. I should look at the gay guys in the room. They know what they're doing. And then I'm just judging guys in the room. I'm just like, that guy's gay. He knows what he's doing. And then he goes, lift up the gaze. And I'm like, what the fuck does... Surely he doesn't want me to lift that guy up. And then I went, no, that's stupid. What he means is we need to lift up the gaze in society. We should all lift it. This is what my brain was doing in the class. I'm like, yeah, when I leave the class, I'm going to lift up the gaze. That's good advice. And then he goes, take the gaze to the horizon. And I'm like, oh, what the fuck does that mean? Everyone else in the class who's normal is just looking into the distance as they're doing moves. I'm thinking about when I have time to grab a group of gay guys and drive them to the horizon. Come on, guys, we're going to the horizon. Why? Oh, because the yoga instructor told me to, and I'm doing everything that he said. Why are you crying? We're going to the horizon. Such an idiot. There's too much. There's too much in society expected of us. Too much that you need to do to be good people. There's no time. There's no time to do it all. Shit, if you just did all the stuff that your dentist expects you to do, there's no time. No time for anything. What the fuck do these people think that we do with our lives? That we have 7.5 hours in the morning to commit to their teeth and gum routine that's so very important to them. You don't use dental floss. You lie to yourself and your dentist that you use dental floss. The only time in your life that you use dental floss is for 2 days after seeing the dentist. And then on the third day, you're like, I'm not fucking doing this every day. And you throw it in a drawer and you leave it there for a year until you see the dentist the following year and you bring it out a week before and try and fool the dentist. I don't have time to floss. I don't have time for that. I have a foreskin to take care of, okay? There's too much that you need to do. You're meant to remember all your passwords? Are you fucking kidding me? I've got 17 variations of the same password and I'm meant to remember it every time? I just spend my whole day changing passwords. That's all I do. I go to get into something, completely forget the password, and I go, okay, I have to change the password. And then you have to go into your email and verify that's something you wanted to do with your life. And you're like, yeah, that was me. And then your computer turns into some shit detective and goes, oh, someone was trying to break into your account. And you're like, yeah, that was fucking me. What are you talking about? I'm trying to get in. And then it goes, well, now I don't trust you and I think you're a robot. And I'm like, oh, I'm not a robot, you're a robot. What the fuck? Why are we having this discussion? And it goes, well, I'm not sure. I'm going to test you here. I'm going to do some puzzles. And you're like, I don't want to do puzzles. But the game has already begun. And it says, which one of these is a boat? And you're like, oh, all right, well, that's a boat, that's a boat. That's a boat on a trailer that's on the road. Is that still counted as a boat? How specific do we need to be with these games? Is that going to be part of it? And then you fuck that one up and it goes, right, you're an idiot, we need to do another one. And it says, let's see if you know the difference between a scooter and a motorcycle. And you're like, oh, well, I'm not sure if I do know the difference. And then you're just clicking, going, all right, I think that's a motorbike. That one has a bike in the background. I'm not sure if it's motorised. Is that going to be on the test? Is that on the test? Why is this so difficult? And then it gives you one final one. It says, just point out the traffic lights. And you're like, all right, that seems pretty easy. And then you're like, is the pole counted as a traffic light? Why does it have to be so difficult? So that takes 3.5 hours, and then you eventually figure it out, and you go to put a new password in, and then your computer just judges you and gives you shit. You put a new password in, it just goes, oh, that's weak, you're weak. And you're like, I'm trying my best, what do you want from me? I did everything you asked. I did the big letter, the small letter, the special character, the exclamation point, the only one I'm comfortable using. But still, that's not enough for you? 1-800-FLOWERS? Why does my 1-800-FLOWERS account require a cryptic 17-digit password? My bank requires 4 numbers, that's it. They have all of my shit. They have everything. God forbid someone breaks into my 1-800-FLOWERS account and puts foreign bouquets into my cart. That's all they can do. There's no money attached to it. All they can do is just fill up my cart with shit that I didn't put in there. So you go to put a password in, and then the computer says, oh, can we suggest this password? And that one has hieroglyphics and Hebrew in it, and you're like, well, what the fuck does that say? You can't even read that, let alone remember that. What kind of psychopath is using the suggested password? Like, oh, there's 23 symbols I've never seen before in formation. Let's jot those down and put them in a drawer. No, all you could do is you just use your regular password and just add shit to it, and you wonder what you haven't added yet. And it just gets to a point where you put your regular password, you just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Is that enough? Is that enough for you? 1-800-Flowers? And then a thing pops up and says, you can't use a password you've used in the last 3, and you're like, fuck you! And fuck Flowers! And fuck everyone! I did shows a couple of months ago in Florida, and Florida's a weird place, okay? They were very old. The audiences were just 96 years old across the board. Some people died during the show, and they just carried them out, and everyone was like, oh yeah, it was Kevin's time. It was Kevin. Carry on, carry on. So America's a very religious place, okay? We're not very religious here in Australia. We are a little bit, but not like America, okay? God doesn't want to make the 16-hour flight down to Australia, so he's not here as much. So in the Mormon religion, you're not allowed to have sex until marriage, okay? It's taboo. Not allowed to. But the young, consenting Mormon adults, like the 18-year-olds, they want to have sex. Of course they do. But what they've realised is, okay, they're allowed to... Look, they're allowed to be in there. They're allowed to park. They're allowed to dock. You're allowed to be inside. Okay? You're just not allowed to move. That's the wicked part in the Mormon religion, is the movement. It's the wicked hump, okay? So they've realised you're allowed to be in there, but they're like, don't move, don't move, don't move, don't move. Now, this is my favourite part. The second part this is called jump humping. This is where they get a friend in, and their friend jumps on the bed next to them and provides the movement that they so sorely need. I'm not making this shit up. You can look it up. See, these two acts, independent of one another, totally acceptable in the Mormon religion. You're allowed to be in there, you're allowed to park, you're allowed to dock. They call that soaking, which is both hilarious and disgusting. And then they're allowed to jump on the bed. They're just having a good time. Nothing wrong with that. But what has occurred when in close proximity to one another? What is this scientific anomaly? And I'm so proud of these kids for finding this loophole. I'm so proud of them. I would have thought that'd be the most important part of sex, but no, apparently not. But do you know how hard that is to orchestrate? I was 18. Trying to get sex is impossible. Impossible. Trying to bring another person in on that? Fuck no. How are they going to play this off? One of these 18-year-old kids, like he defies the odds, and he gets a girl home, and he's being a gentleman, and he's being courteous, and she says, oh, we're just watching Netflix, right? And he's like, yeah, of course. And then she goes, well, why is your friend Kevin here with his shoes off? And he's got to go, oh, I don't know, anything could happen, hey! There's too much to orchestrate. You can't have a memory foam mattress, you can't have memory foam. You think about it, you're on the bed in the docking position, ready, and Kevin's jumping around like a lunatic, and you're not moving at all. It's incredible, but not helpful in this situation. There's a full glass of red wine not spilling next to you. That was the most fun I've had doing that joke. Thank you. You should have seen the people in Florida. There's no way. Silence throughout that whole thing. But I just kept doing it because I enjoyed doing it. My mum's on Instagram. Some of you might have seen some videos that I've dragged her into. I think she has 3 friends and I'm one of them. So every time I put a video on Instagram, she calls me says, "Oh, I saw the video." I'm like, "Oh yeah," she goes, "It's good." I think she thinks that I just made it for her. I'm not sure. And then she goes, "Oh, I saw Auntie Elaine liked the post. You should probably ring her and thank her." No, I'm not ringing Auntie Elaine to thank her for liking the posts. And then she went, "Well, I thought I raised you better than that." So I blocked my mum on Instagram. I got married last year to an American girl. She's a lovely girl, fantastic. I think you'd like her. I don't know if I need your approval, but I think you'd. So we got married a year ago. And I tell you what, they lie in the movies about how newly married couples act towards each other. Because in the movies, a newly married couple will paint a room together in the house. And one of them will accidentally get paint on the other one. And then that one flicks some paint back. And then they throw paint back and forth. And then they roll around in the paint and make love in the paint. I was painting a room in our house with my new wife. And I thought, oh, all right. I flicked some paint at her. She looked up at me and went, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" And I went, "Oh, you're meant to throw paint back and then we roll around in the paint." She said, "That sounds like a waste of paint." I went, "You're missing the point. We're newlyweds and we're meant to be spontaneous." And then she went, "All right." She threw some paint and I threw paint. And we did. We rolled around in the paint and made love in the paint. And she got the worst urinary tract infection. They don't show that plot line in the movies, do they? They skim past that bit. We didn't have sex for 6 months after that. I was looking around the house the other day. So we've lived together for 8 years. And I was looking around the house and I realised that I own nothing. I own nothing in this house. None of this is mine. I put none of that there. I'm not allowed to touch some of it. I'm a grown man who can't touch shit in his own house. I'm like, how did I let this happen? How did it get this far? The cats have more real estate in the house than I do. They have cat towers and feeding stations and places they like to sit. I have nothing. Now I know why dads everywhere around the world have that one chair, that one armchair that's like in the corner of the room, and everyone kind of jokes about it and goes, "Oh, that's Dad's chair. That's where Dad sits. Don't sit in Dad's chair." And you know what Dad thinks? That's all I've fucking got in my life. That's all. And they sit in their chair and they go, "This is my fucking chair." No one tells me what to do when I'm in this chair. I'm king of this chair. I realised I don't even have the chair. All I have is my side of the bed. Okay. Under the covers, because the cats own the entire top of the bed. If there's a cat sleeping in my spot, I can't disturb the cat. I have to contort my body around the cat. And they go, no, I won't disturb her. Isn't she beautiful? Yeah, let's let her sleep. And I'll just have half of my body off the bed. That's a good idea. I like it. I think it's good for circulation. I think it's good for my spine and the future of my back altogether. I think it's great. As long as the cat's getting a good night's sleep, I can sacrifice myself. So all I have to myself is my side of the bed under the covers and only facing this way. Because if I face this way, towards my wife, apparently my breath is ruining her existence. And she tells me about it every 20 minutes. She'll be like, I can feel you breathing. I can feel the warmth of your breath. And I'm like, oh, that's gross. So I grab a pillow and stick it in my face and go... She goes, I can still feel you breathing. I'm like, you can feel me breathing through the pillow? She's like, I can feel you moving. I can feel the movement and I can tell that you're breathing. I can tell that you're still breathing. I'm like, yes, I am in fact breathing. That is true. That is awful of me. Look, I'm purely just trying to breathe to live. Is it okay? Is it okay with you if I live through the night? Is that okay with you? I know you're trying to sleep, but I'm just trying to get oxygen to my brain so I can survive another day on this planet. But that's rude of me on this Tuesday evening. You should be having a nice slumber. I'll stop breathing, and I'll die. I'll die in the bed next to you, and you and the cat will have a wonderful sleep. I'm just breathing. I'm not snoring. To be fair, in the last 6 months I've started snoring. And I know that's annoying. I've slept next to people that have snored before and that is fucking annoying. But I gotta tell you guys, as the person who snores, it's really hard as well. Because you don't hear any of the snoring. You just get woken up every half an hour by a hysterical, angry person a foot away from you in the bed, hitting you. Shut the fuck up! And you're like, what? You shut the fuck up! I wasn't snoring, you were! You shut up, that's stupid, you're stupid. Why did I even marry you, you stupid? I'm just trying to sleep like a normal person and you hit me. So, I don't know if this is happening here in Australia, but in America, I don't know why they make their showers so difficult to figure out. Every new shower is a new puzzle, a new maze, to figure out how to even get it started. It used to be just a red hot tap and a blue cold tap. That's it. It's pretty simple. Now, you have to find a little lever to pull down to start the shower. They're like, oh, didn't you know you needed to pull the lever up from the bath tap? Didn't you know that? I'm like, no, I didn't fucking know that. Why would I know I needed a plumbing apprenticeship and move hardware around to start your stupid shower? Sometimes it's one huge metallic knob with just no signage. And you're just spinning it around. I'm like, I don't know how far I need to go with this. And that is 3rd degree burns. And that's ice bucket challenge. And you're like, where the fuck do I was at a hotel and there was 3 chrome levers with just nothing else. No signage. I didn't know what was going on. I just stared at it and went, this is not going to end well. And I turned the middle one and just got shot in the dick, like a high-powered, like right there. Like, why is that at dick level? Is that to clean my foreskin? Is that why that's there? I have PTSD from a shower I had in Denver 4 years ago. I couldn't get the thing started. I was doing shows Wednesday to Sunday, and before the Wednesday show, I went to shower, and I went in there, I got all my clothes off, and I'm trying to get the shower started. I couldn't figure it out. 20 minutes, I was trying. I was looking for the lever. I felt so dumb. You know what was worse? Is doing that and failing while you're naked just made it so much more worse. I'm just limp and pathetic and just getting nowhere. And I said to myself, have a bath. You love baths. I tried to convince myself that I wanted a bath, not that I was forced into bathing through stupidity. And I went down to do the bath and I realised, oh shit, you're not going to be able to do the bath, are you? And I tried for 7 seconds and failed at that. And that was a low point in my life, ladies and gentlemen. I'm crouched down naked next to a bath and shower I couldn't figure out. And I kind of slumped in defeat. And then my dick just touched the bathroom tile. And your dick should never touch bathroom tile. It shouldn't. It's cold, it's invasive, you didn't expect that to happen. It may not have happened to any guy in this room, but you know exactly what I felt, don't you? You can feel it right now. You can feel how awful and abrasive that is. So I'm at a new low point in my life. Just dick on tile, just... And then I realised, shit, you're just going to have to get up and put your clothes back on. Do you know how weird it feels? To get your clothes off, get completely naked, go in, just fail at starting the shower, fail at the bath, and just place your penis on the floor for a second, and then just go and put your clothes back on and go out and try and confidently do stand-up comedy. Do you know how that feels? The whole crowd was looking at me. They were staring. They knew something had happened. They're like, something's happened to this guy in the last couple of hours. And I could feel the touch. I could feel the touch of the tile. And I felt that touch for 6 months because I got the worst urinary tract infection. Sydney, that is all from me, and thank you so much for coming out on this Wednesday.